Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I can taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed, right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Okay, I think we're officially live. We have one of our guys, Adam, who happens to be out of Jerusalem. Hopefully these guys can figure out the audio in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
With all the high IQ money, all the stuff they got going on for
Billions,
themselves, they can't
Pat,
figure out the audio.
billions.
It is what it is. We'll figure it out.
Nobody's going to be more anti-Semitic than me if my tech guys don't figure it out.
There you go. Figure it out,
I'm telling
fellas.
you right now, ladies and
So
gentlemen.
we'll see. Anyways,
I mean, we're not New York. Rhode Island has got great
we
service here. I don't understand.
We got a lot of great stories to go through. Tom had to plug in the Rhode Island thing real quick, but we got a lot of stories to go through for all of you diehard Ronaldo fans who are celebrating this weekend to have watched Messi lose. I think Ronaldo fans were the biggest Spain fans yesterday. Diehard. They were like, yes! You know how I know that? Guess who I took to the game with me yesterday? My son. Guess what jersey the guy decided to wear? Ronaldo's jersey. Can you imagine we're in a place where the guys that are with us in the suite, some friend of ours, Will Ferrell's on this side, Tom Cruise is out there taking pictures, talking to you and to Dylan. Somehow Tom Cruise comes and gives a speech to open up the World Cup, which was kind of interesting. But guys, before we get started, Humberto, run a poll real quick. Folks, which one do you prefer? These black glasses, okay, until I get my eyes done, these, or do you prefer the clear? I don't know if we should say white or black because that could be a racist poll to run.
Don't get canceled on your own podcast, Pat.
So why don't you do black and clear? And Adam, on today's podcast, I'm requesting you to not to do a lot of jump-ins because your audio isn't that well. Only when I come to you jump in because the audio needs a little bit of work.
This will be a good poll. And if you're with Warby Parker, DM Tom with any recommendations.
So let me go through the stories on what we got. A few things. Trump gave a speech last week that we haven't gotten into yet, but Trump gave a speech last week that CNN refused to play. And they said, well, because he's made a lot of claims and they refused to play. And Trump made some claims about China being involved in elections and different things that we're going to get into. But the part I want you to think about that no one's thinking about. Remember when they said, oh, you can get your Facebook account back, your Instagram back, your YouTube account back, everything you can get back. And now they're no longer going to be doing any censorship. No. They just revealed that card's going to be used. And they can't say equal time because they don't give equal time. And they can't say it was close to midterms and we did the same things with Biden. No, because CNN played Biden's entire speech. So we're going to get into some of that stuff to talk about. Bill Maher said he's done with Democrats. He says there's no way I can support something like this. Bill Maher is actually saying he's open to the idea of potentially voting for J.D. Vance, a Bill Maher voting for J.D. Vance. Olive Garden, I don't know if you guys have been to Olive Garden lately or not. Olive Garden is officially for voter ID. Olive Garden came out and said they believe in voter ID in the craziest way possible. 30 years ago when I was 17 years old, we'd go to Olive Garden. I would tell my friends we went to a rich man's restaurant. We would order those, those breadsticks that it's unlimited breadsticks. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was great.
And salad.
Yeah, and salad. It was phenomenal. But Olive Garden got it right. We'll talk about what we're talking about. Of course, we got to address World Cup. Spain got paid $50 million for winning the whole thing, but they got to pay. They got to pay, my opinion, that score. I'm going to give you the craziest stat on the World Cup that no one's talking about, that this man here introduced me to the stat. And then we went a little bit deeper this morning to find out the numbers. It's crazy when we share this number with you on the World Cup. It's a topic that literally no one is talking about. We'll cover it here with you in a minute. We had a chance to watch Odyssey this weekend. Tom took a nap, but it was a good movie when we watched the Odyssey.
Totally good.
Tom caught up on some of it. He's like, listen, I've read the book 50 times. I can teach the class on the Odyssey. I don't need to watch a movie to know what the Odyssey was about. $375 million budget, which includes marketing. Opening weekend, $264 million, breaking Christopher Nolan's previous record of
$249 for Dark Knight Rises.
Exactly. So I don't know if you've seen it or not. We did. I'm going to give you my thoughts. Vinny's going to give his thoughts. Tate's, they're having a fight they're promoting, I think, 2 days ago while they're going out there to promote the fight, which, by the way, Tate's clothes choice that day, Andrew, I would tell you could choose a little bit different color, but he's got a very good taste on clothes. But obviously, they're going through it. UK comes from out there. Florida, we know DeSantis are not supportive of Tate. Maher was involved in this. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen. They're probably going to be in for about 2 weeks to 60 days. It could turn into a 6-month situation. Anyways, we'll get into that story. It's 32
it has nothing
counts,
to do with
I think.
U.S.
No, it has nothing to do with U.S. But, Tom, partly it does. Partly it does because it's with the help of U.S. that they've been able to do what they're trying to do. So we'll get into that.
Right, but this particular arrest was coming from somebody
You're
else.
right. It's coming from UK. Transgender Maine Senate candidate. Folks, new rock star. Katie Porter, step out of the way. A new rock star is here, stealing the flipping show.
Yeah.
Talking some common sense.
Yes.
I write my own books, he said.
Look at this guy.
Says, I write songs, and all I'm trying to do as a transgender is use the restroom and not be bothered. I'm not going to hurt anybody. That's this guy's
Ashley.
campaign speech.
Shout out Ashley.
And some people are saying this guy is apparently, what do you call
Graham
it? Plattner
Plattner's
that kind of
replacement.
evolved.
Shout
I
out
don't know.
Democratic
Have you seen
Party.
that video? That Plattner evolves into Ashley Webb. Look
I'll
into
send
it
it
and
to
send
him.
it to him. And then we got Japan enacts law to punish national flag vandals. Opponents say it's a threat to freedom of speech. I actually love that thing. John Fetterman comes out warning Democrat Party stay loyal to Israel or he'll leave. And there was one story I liked, which is MLS's newest billionaire owner thinks investors can do better than buying a sports team. When he breaks down the numbers, it's actually shocking that you may do better in the S&P 500 than owning a sports team. And that's me. I read the story. I said, I think that's a pretty good story for us to get into it. So with that being said, gang, while you're watching this, a couple things I want you to be thinking about is for some of you guys that realize success in life, you're one contact away from changing your life. We do this intentionally every year. People ask us and say, hey, we'd love to come to the campus, get a tour in the entire new headquarters, 11 acres on the airport. Allegedly, this was a former CIA DOD property that Oliver North did the Iran-Contra at this airport that you guys now own. Yes. Wait a minute. Is that real? Yes. We're doing the annual networking event at our office, June 29th, 6 to 8 p.m. Those who have CEO tickets, I'm going to give you a tour of the entire place. Founder tickets, Tom, I'll give you a tour of the entire place. A lot of new upgrades have happened since the last time you guys were here. Executives will get a tour from our staff, and then platinums and generals, you'll get a chance to do networking. And then I think a few people who buy the CEOs and founders will go to the cigar lounge afterwards for a networking event at our lounge. Whether you're a member or not, it's going to be a great experience, and some of you guys can choose to become members afterwards. But you got to go buy your tickets. This is what it looked like last year. There's going to be a lot of surprises this year. Go ahead and play the clip. There you have it. Vault 2026. If you haven't yet bought your tickets, go to Vault 2026. Get your tickets. And those of you guys that have, you can register with the link that we have out there. I don't know if we have the link there or not. If we're not showing it, we'll put it in the description and the comment section. Go to it. But if you haven't yet purchased your tickets, go to vault2026.com and get registered. Logan Paul will be there. Stephen Bartlett from Diary of CEO, Dan Martell, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. And we're going to have a good time together at the Vault Conference this year. With that being said, let's get right into it. First story. Do we want to just get into the World Cup and get that knocked out of the way? Let's get into the World Cup and get that knocked out of the way. Spain won 1-0. Honestly, they should have won 5-0. 15 shots, 2-0. Spain's going to get paid $50 million. Lamine Yamal shook hands with Trump at the end when they won. There was a moment where they're like, oh, he's blowing him off. No, they shook hands. It was just couldn't see it. Trump put a medal over Messi's head when they lost. Messi was in tears. The head coach was in tears. Couldn't believe that this took place. The greatest red card in this entire World Cup goes to Enzo. We're up there watching the match, and we're seeing this guy going after the player. And all you see is Enzo doing the flip. You know what it reminded me of, Vinny? It reminded me of that 80-year-old man that flipped over the bison, because I know that picture was going viral. I'm like, this is horrible. I think he beat the 80-year-old with the flip that he got.
He did.
And he gave a yellow card, and he already had a yellow card, so it ended up being a red card.
Remember, the bison was a yellow stone card.
That's right.
Yes.
That's a different
Good
card
one,
that
Tom.
you're talking about. Good one for that. But as you're going through this, one number that came about, which was crazy. By the way, Spain is a true champion. And let me tell you why. They're the most boring team you can watch in the entire World Cup. I keep saying they're the Cavs, they're the San Antonio Spurs. They win, but they're boring. Boring to watch them play. Okay, France plays, exciting. Argentina plays, exciting. England played, exciting. By the way, the England-France game was sick. Like, that's the game you want to go to, see 6-4 goals. Mbappe scores the 2 goals. He becomes the all-time scorer in the history of World Cup. I think he's got 2 goals or 1 goal more than, if you want to pull up the leaders bulletin, all-time World Cup scores. So Mbappe is now first place ahead of Messi.
Yep.
And, you know, Ronaldo fans celebrating because Messi didn't end up winning the second World Cup. There's Mbappe. Even though Messi didn't really need it, everybody at this point knows Messi's the GOAT. So Mbappe has 22 goals. Messi's 21. And if you go lower, Ronaldo, Brazil, Portugal, 15. You know what's one of the stats that was going viral, which was kind of interesting to me? One of the stats that was going viral was the following. You know, Mbappe scored 10 goals in 1 World Cup. Messi scored 8 goals in 1 World Cup. Haaland, Bellingham, Dembele, how do you spell the other guy's name? Dembele, 7 goals in 1 World Cup. Harry Kane, 6 goals in 1 World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo, 11 goals in 6 World Cups.
Wow.
11 and 6. And by the way, do you know how bad I wanted him to go to the championship?
I know.
Because I wanted to see him against Messi and let the debates begin.
Yep.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to see that. And we went to the game specifically for that reason. But you know what's the most important stat? And then I'll open it up for you guys to go through and give credit to Tom. Here's the most important stat out of all the things that we talked about. There's not a stat more important than this. So they did a number to show which of the 2 teams had more 6-touch passes. Okay, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Like, you know, where I pass it to Tom passes it to Vinny, and there are 5 other teammates that we touch pass. 6. Sequence of 6 passes or more. Do you know how many Argentina had in the entire game against Spain? 1. Do you know how many times Spain did that against Argentina in the game? 32. Adam, we can hear you. 32. 32 times Spain did this. Let me say it again. Argentina passed to each other 6 times once without losing a ball. Spain did it 32 times. It just wasn't fair. We went to the bathroom after the first half, and I'm in the bathroom with Will Ferrell. All of a sudden, kids start screaming outside. I'm like, what's going on outside? Who's screaming? And you and Dylan come inside. It's like, Spain just scored. I said, what? Spain just scored? Yeah, it's not going to penalties? No. We run outside. Will Ferrell's like, what are you talking about? Anyways, it was an intense game, and credit goes to, you know, in all the people that made predictions. Tom wins the prediction markets. Messi didn't make the comeback. Spain was the most dominant team. They beat Mbappe's France. They beat Argentina's, Messi's Argentina, and they deserve to be champions, and credit goes to them. I applaud them for going through it. And look, whether you like it or not, 90% of the audience was Argentina, 10% was Spain. But the 10% of Spaniards that went there, yeah, that's the picture right there. Look at this.
Can you show that? Look at that.
Tom Cruise, Dylan, and Vinny.
He was so freaking awesome too. He was so. By the way, he's not taller than me. I was forward in the photo, and he was wearing boots.
Are you taller than him?
I'm taller than Tom. Yeah, I hugged him, and I like.
But he was just a chill guy talking to you.
Oh, he was. The way that I approached him and the way that I spoke to him, he went from smiling to listening. Because I told him, I go, listen, I know people want autographs. I go, I'm not gonna want that. We're gonna take a photo, but I go, thank you for all the entertainment. Like me and my family, my dad was wild. We got to sit there as a family and watch him. And he was like, oh, my God, thank you so much. He was sitting there talking. He didn't deny one photo with anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody got a photo.
Gotta love it. I love hearing a story. I mean, we just watched Cocktails, and we just watched A Few Good Men within a week apart, right? And he's in both of them. But, Tom, your assessment, your thoughts on watching the game. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the World Cup stuff. I want to move on, but your assessment on it.
When I watched Spain, remember, Spain was the pre-tournament number 1. I watched the first knockout round every minute. I said, wow, I wonder who's really going to be up. And it was on July 2nd, and Austria, I remember it was 2 days before 4th of July. We're getting ready to travel to, Rhode Island. And here we are, Austria, 3-0. And that game could have been 13-0 against Austria. Yeah. And I remember I came to Pat and I said, Pat, Spain is a machine. Because I was just so shocked, and I was seeing the passing and everything. And at that point, Unai Simon, they had the draw against Cape Verde, but he didn't allow any goals yet. And I said, no one has scored on Spain either. And this goal, Unai Simon, was amazing. And Unai Simon would finish with 7. We call it shutout in American speak. It's called a clean sheet in soccer speak. And so he finished with 7 clean sheets. The goalie that beats Unai Simon's record for this year's World Cup has to go the entire World Cup and never give up a goal. He gave up 1 to Belgium.
Yeah.
Then that to me was just so insane. And you talked about the passes. I got nothing more to say about it.
To be fair, Emi Martinez was a great goal. He was the MVP of the World Cup for Argentina.
Gosh.
Because they could have scored 5-6 goals.
Absolutely.
But go ahead, Tom. Finish your
No,
thought.
it's like, it was just amazing. Yeah, credit to the Argentina goalie for hanging in, and it wasn't 4-0. It was only 1-0. And I think we've seen something, and I'll let you comment on it. I think we've seen with Spain, with a combination of the academy, the national support, I think we're seeing the West Coast offense getting born under Bill Walsh or Tex Winter and Phil Jackson building the triangle. I think we're seeing that.
Though. The students beat the teacher. These are guys that admire and they love Messi. They were protective. The way they played against Messi was very respectful. But they beat the teacher, and the teacher's 39 years old. I hope he doesn't make a comeback. I hope he doesn't come back to 2030. A lot of people are saying he should come back. Ronaldo should come back. I think they should go. Thank you, Ronaldo. Thank you, Messi. I'll never forget, I went to the El Clasico in Madrid, and I watched them play. I think Messi had a hat trick at that game. I never forget, I went to a game, Espanyol against Argentina in 2008. Full-on fight broke out. On the way out, people who were with me, you'll know what happened. There was fist fight, and I was involved. And it took us 3 hours to get back to the hotel. It was all over ESPN. It was the craziest thing ever that we had. These guys entertained the world, and we want to thank you. It was phenomenal. It was great, but I hope neither one of them comes back to the 2030 World Cup. Vinny.
Well, Pat, first of all, thank you for bringing me there. The experience was just it was unbelievable. The fans, the cheering, the game was, we had hopes. I wanted for, destiny, Messi winning, but, being the technical team that Spain was, you used the best word when it came to their defense. Smothering. Guys, every time the ball, I didn't see one player tired, hands on their hips. They were sprinting on the ball every time. But Pat, my favorite part, and I'm being dead serious about the whole World Cup, the MVP for me was Justin Bieber. Well, it was such a moment to be there to watch it, because every artist, Madonna, Shakira, they had, dancers, explosions, graphics, fire, production, lip syncing. He walked out by himself with a guitar, his earpiece, and a mic, and sang a cappella while walking, playing the guitar. Pat, this is the biggest stage, and the song that he chose to pick to sing was Everything Hallelujah. It's about God, it's about gratitude, and recognizing God's blessings and being thankful for every day. It was so intentional, Pat, in a world where everybody's about me and me, look at me. He chose that moment, and when he was done, Pat, you remember? He walked by himself from that one entrance all the way to the other by himself, and I absolutely love the message and taking that stage to do that song. So he was my MVP.
I agree. And by the way, we just saw him. We just saw him 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Security.
Yep.
Shout out to security. Great guy. Anyways, Adam, your thoughts. I know Israel is devastated that Argentina lost. What are your thoughts on this? We can't hear him. Now we can't hear anything you're saying.
Now we can't hear anything.
So there's zero audio this time around. Okay, we'll come back to you. Jake, you guys check Adam. We'll come back to you. We can't hear anything you're saying. All that IQ, guys. All that IQ, all that genetics you guys got. Come on, all those resources, all those pagers, all of that stuff, and you can't get something to work over there. All right. We'll come back to
do
you.
not
Hopefully
give
we'll
Adam
get
a
the ID.
pager.
By the way, so J.D. Vance wasn't able to show up to the game because they just had a son. And congratulations to J.D. and Usha. I think they just had a son, Alec Neil Vance. If you guys can mute Adam, please, on the other side, Jake, thank you. And Marco Rubio was at the match. So was the president right there. We are excited to announce our baby boy, Alex Neil Vance, was born in the morning. Usha and the baby are happy, healthy, and our kids are overjoyed to meet their little brother. The incredible military doctors and staff members of Walter Reed Medical Center and the White House Medical Unit have been a blessing. We are deeply thankful for all they have done for our family, and that's that with them. So congratulations to the Vance family as they welcome a new boy. But there you have it. By the way, when the game starts, they show stats, and they said, here are the leaders of the World Cup. The top three defenders of the World Cup, 3-for-3 was all from Spain. And I said, it's over. They couldn't even get it on the other side. Didn't score one goal. Again, respect to them. And Messi, we have the privilege of saying we witnessed the greatest soccer player of all time play during our era. If you had a chance to watch him, you're part of the lucky few. We'll brag about him for many, many decades to come. All right, let me get to the next story. Next story I want to get into has to do with the Trump speech. Trump gives a speech on Thursday night. We didn't get a chance to talk about it. But he was given a speech and a few takeaways from the speech on what was discussed. Number one, U.S. elections. Trump said that the documents expose election systems to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference, and accused officials of concealing these vulnerabilities from the public. Number two, Chinese exploitation of voter data claims. Trump alleged China acquired 220 million voter files and that intelligence officers suppressed evidence Beijing wanted to undermine his re-election. However, a 2020 intelligence assessment. Okay, so China said we had nothing to do with it. That's what they came up and said, just so you know that. China called Trump's allegations completely fabricated, out of thin air, and urged Washington to stop its groundless smearing. Number three, voting machine and vote counting machines. Trump warned of a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy, citing intelligence about Venezuela allegedly attempting to manipulate its own elections. He suggested methods could threaten the U.S. When it comes down to elections. Then there's Michigan 2020 voter registration investigation. Trump accused former Justice Department officials of suppressing a Michigan investigation involving fraudulent voter registration applications and instructed FBI Director Kash Patel to pursue possible prosecutions. And last but not least, non-citizens on voter rolls. Trump cited the Department of Homeland Security report allegedly identifying approximately 278,000 registered non-citizens but not claimed they voted. A preliminary review indicated the figure may have included the deceased voters. So they're looking into that. Now, when that took place, CNN's Gary King, what's his name? John King, who is their Bret Baier, okay? Allegedly. Obviously, Bret Baier's in a league of his own, but he comes out and explains why they did not want to play the president's speech. Look at this. Watch this from the beginning, folks, and tell me what this reminds you of. Go ahead.
A quick reminder to our viewers, we'll be watching tonight's presidential address and listening to what the president says tonight. But we're not going to take it live, as we've been discussing. That's because this president, sadly, has a history of misleading and in some cases
who are
simply
you to
false
make a decision for 77 million people?
Election security and integrity. Also, the White House earlier today said he would be showing newly classified documents. So we want to make sure that we have time to review those documents, talk to experts about them, contextualize whatever
Can
he
you
says
imagine how
or
embarrassing
shows
this is? Can you
before
pause it right
airing
there?
it. But if there is
In other words, CNN wants to say they know what's best for you. Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? Remember in 2022, right before midterm elections, and Biden was giving a speech on September 1st? And what was that speech that was given? The Independent Hall speech, if you guys remember that. NBC, ABC, and CBS said they're not going to play it because they said it's what? It's promoting and it's a midterm speech that he's given. You know what CNN did? They played it. Why did you play it, CNN? Why did you play that speech? He was trying to win the midterms. So you don't remember what he did with the red background?
Yeah, look like
and how scary of a speech it was? So you didn't think that was okay for him to, so you trusted him, but you know. So this all tells you what's coming to 2028. It's coming back. Don't think for a moment the censorship stuff is gone. Don't think for a moment them calling YouTube or Facebook or all these guys and threatening them to say, hey, you better block Trump. You better block that. Don't think that's going away anytime soon. Don't think that for a second. They showed their hands again. Tom, I'll come to you. Actually, no, Vinny, I'll come to you here with the Trump speech Thursday night. Your thoughts on what he talked about?
I'm that's all I've been thinking about, Pat. Even at the freaking game, I was thinking about this. And forget just for 1 second anything that he said about the speech. The fact that the biggest scandal is what you just said, that they're acting as gatekeepers of truth. They're deciding what we can hear and what we can't hear. And to me, that's revealing their hand. So if you watch the speech, if you actually listen to what the president said, Pat, China used CCP assets in the U.S. media and social media to incite. This is just one of the examples. The 2020 BLM riots. Okay? Number one, They also paid U.S. journalists to write negative stories about the Trump administration. They collected millions of U.S. citizens' private data from TikTok, and I know Tom's going to have a take on that, to create fake IDs and driver's licenses for tens of thousands of fraudulent mail-in votes for Joe Biden in the 2020 election. And the investigative journalist Catherine Herridge, Pat, I think she was on News Nation. She reviews the documents released by the Trump administration. And she said also the CIA emails showed that they were working against Donald Trump to help China and the Democrats in the 2020 election. Take 1 second, let that sink in. I know we're supposed to have trust in all of our institutions, the FBI and the CIA actively working. And I know everybody says, well, you can't get rid of these institutions, Pat, but there's so many people inside. Like you have a company, Pat. You have Valuetainment. You don't know how certain people are inside the company that think a certain way and that would act in some way to sabotage. And that's what happens. And then think about this, guys. They worked and busted their butts for years with China. They colluded. Then they released a freaking COVID-19 came from their freaking country. And remember, anybody that tried to say Trump, China, they're like, what are you doing? That's racist. Nancy Pelosi was in freaking Chinatown going, no, come here. And now, Pat, I'm trying to connect all the dots. Then for 4 years, Trump's out. Biden's in. All right. They flew spy balloons. Biden administration, by the way, do you know the Hunter Biden's relationship with China, Pat? He helped create BHR Partners. It's a private equity firm backed by Chinese state-owned entities after he traveled to China with his father 2013 while he was vice president. And remember in the emails, guys, he was referred to as the big guy. I need a cut for the big guy. And then Hunter Biden pursued business deals with the exec tied to CEFC, the Chinese energy. All of Hunter's emails, Pat, lab ties discussed the dealings with China. And then we try to, like, who was calling the shots? Remember what you said last week with all the pardons? Who was basically, what article did you read or what book have you read that you read to a chapter that said Hunter Biden was in charge of basically the pardons? I didn't hear Pat.
Regime Change by the 2 New York Times authors that just wrote the book, Regime Change.
So think about guys, this isn't like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. He's a freaking China hawk, Biden, working with his son, Pat. And then you have losers. Like this Chinese takeover, Pat, you're seeing it. They're communists. The Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party anymore. You have losers like Hassan Piker dressed up like Mao Zedong, giving speeches in front of colleges, and that's the new Democratic Party.
He dressed as what?
He was dressed, but Pat.
Do you have that?
When I say, and I don't like
you
calling
have that? Hassan Piker
dressed as Mao. Go to X. He went in front of the.
He's wearing the Nehru jacket.
Yeah, College
like
Democrats of America
leader.
Convention. Like, what a freaking loser! Like, he's dressed up like he's at a communist expo. Like dressing up. Like, look at
there he
that.
is at the podium.
And I hope he hears this. What a complete loser you are, dressing up like another man, like it's a cosplay to talk about communism in this country, bro. Get the hell out of my face. So, Pat, and I think it was Adam who mentioned this a long time ago, China is the enemy. Out of everybody that we're fighting, it's them. And they're not using guns, Pat. They use TikToks. They use these influencers. They use these freaking politicians. And what type of leader do you know comes to San Francisco and they kick the homeless out to make it look good for that guy? They're all in cahoots with that guy, Pat. And I think they're the number one enemy.
Adam, let's see how you sound. Go for it if you have any thoughts on this.
How we doing out there, PBD?
Much better. Go for it. Much better. There you go.
Okay, great. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to see the speech because I was too busy flying to Jerusalem. It's okay here right now. But get ready for more of these fun and games. We saw this in 2020. We saw it in 2024. We know that there's some nefarious actors out there that want to poison the wells, so to speak, of American democracy. And they can do it. China being at the top of the list, Russia playing games, North Korea, Iran. They all want to basically take down Trump. It's the left and the autocratic right that are teaming together to...
Adam, we're losing you. Tom, go for it.
So, Vinny, boy, I hope we clip what you just said because you are right from A to Z. But I want to look at 2 things. First, let's go to CNN and the how dare you. How dare you speak for the amount of people out there? But thank God nobody's watching CNN. 600,000, maybe 700,000 in viewers. Fox gets 5X, 3.4 million. Little old Newsmax is almost at 300,000. So thank goodness nobody's watching CNN not cover it. But what
was the number for CNN?
CNN was between 680 and 700,000.
That's how low they are today?
Yeah, that's right. I just looked it up.
That is CNN.
Fox is 5X, 3.4 million when you get the total viewership. And Little Newsmax is, a smaller channel with a smaller budget, closing in on half of CNN. Unbelievable. Yeah. So, but the point is, how dare you do that? But I'll tell you, in 2022, when he did where was it, in Philadelphia or wherever it was, he did in the backdrop.
The black and red looked like freaking Hitler.
Exactly. This was Biden in 22. The networks knew Biden was a little off rails, and they knew it was going to be bad. The reason they didn't cover it is they didn't want equal time. They would have had to give equal time. They had a premonition of the debate in the summer of 24, and how did that go between Biden and Trump? It didn't. It was terrible. They knew that was going to happen. So that's why they weren't airing it. They're scared to death of having to air the other side and have it sound sensible and be something that the American people might be thinking about, might be processing. Even though they're upset about affordability and about the war, is all have the American people go, wow, that sounds more reasonable over here. Now, TikTok. Interesting. Remember, we were willing to cut off our left arm to keep TikTok from getting our kids' data. And if your kids were tied to a parent account on the phone, TikTok could be invading the phone and pulling your data over there and taking your data to China. Well, guess what? And now we're protesting the data centers. And if we don't build them here, the data will be in China. People say, that's always your thing. You're always saying that. You're just BizDoc. I get these things on X all the time, Pat. Oh, BizDoc, you're just saying that because you're in favor of the technology. No, I'm saying is we have to figure out how to make data centers not cost people money, have alternative methods of cooling, and not be noisy. We have to put pressure on the people building data centers to do that. But if we don't put the data over here, it goes to China. And what Vinny just outlined, China is waiting. China is not a friend. This is what's going on here. That's what I feel about that part of the speech. I think it was a wake-up call that people needed to hear.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's all just showing you what's about to happen in 2028. The gamesmanship is back. They're going to use the same exact cards that you thought they weren't going to use. They're using it. They're going back to the same exact play out of their playbook, page out of the playbook.
And I agree 100%. Pat, if you think about it, everything that he said about China, if it's true, you're seeing it play out. Who's leading the Democratic Party? I got goosebumps. It's the freaking communists. So it worked. And then, Pat, I was always questioning, what president would let China buy land next to our military bases? How many spies, Pat, the Fang, the Eric Swalwell? But I want to ask you a question.
Or farms.
Pat, or the farms, or the agriculture terrorists that we keep catching from China. So, Pat, here's my question.
Who snuck into Minnesota.
Exactly that.
Open door.
How do we deal, Pat? Because we always want to talk about solutions. How do you deal with the FBI and the CIA and people in Congress? We have rogue actors that are working. This is the deep state. Everybody tries to act like we're all delusional or we're all conspiracy theorists. The deep state, Pat, how do you deal with a company like the CIA, these organizations that have people inside? Because one of them that Catherine mentioned, Pat, she said in an FBI quote, she goes...
Can you pull up one of the tweets?
Yeah,
like, you want to pull up one of the documents?
Yeah, one of the documents, Humbert, I sent you a couple. In one of them, and Pat, I'll find it as well after I say this because I want to ask you, I want to see if you could answer this question. She said something like, she feels like this FBI agent is running a rogue... She said something like she was running a rogue government against our government. That's what she felt like. I'm going to find it for sure, but this right here is them collecting...
Speaking for herself.
Speaking for herself, she goes, I feel like I'm running like a shadow government for against the president. God bless you. It's not like it's a joke. It's not like it's hiding it. So, Pat, and I'll find it. I'll send it to him. How do we stop those? What parameters? What guardrails do you have to put in to let people like the James Comey or the Christopher Wray's or the General Milley? You guys remember what General Milley said about China? How much in this pocket of China he was? He said if Donald Trump gave us an order to nuke or bomb China, I would call China and give them a heads up. If that's not treasonous talk, then what is? Tom.
You're right, and I just want 12 seconds. Can you go back to that where you just had that long one that you had on Twitter that talked about where did they get the data for the driver's licenses? Right there. CCP collected millions of U.S. citizen private data from TikTok accounts to create fake IDs for tens of thousands of fraudulent mail-in votes. Thank you.
Yeah, and by the way, if you go to the group text, I'll put a thumbs up if you want to go to it. In regard to BLM, if you go to the tweet, you just saw me thumbs up. You see it or no? I just literally thumbs upped it. Yeah, I'll do a love on it to make it easier for you.
Love it.
You see it? Okay, then if that's not working, I'm just going to text it to you separately. This has to do about Chinese involvement with BLM. Okay, if you go to your text, you'll see it right there. There you have it,
Unbelievable.
okay, at the top. There you go. Watch, make this bigger. And Vinny, if you want to read this to them.
Okay. So China planned to incite racial unrest and blame white people hating black people to sabotage Trump. They had extensive plans, China, to influence and cyber operations to turn public opinion against the Trump administration. They specifically targeted racial tensions, planning to allege that white people hate black people, incite demonstrations and marches to highlight racial divides, increase conflict between police and anti-racism activists, and create an impression that the U.S. law enforcement resents the government and people of color. Other themes included political party fights, Congress versus Trump conflicts, women's rights, and alleged U.S. war plans. China had the ability to spread these messages across social media, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and mainstream media using influencers. One option included gathering dirt on senior U.S. officials. This document shows that China was actively planning to weaponize racial division to damage Donald Trump ahead of the 2020 election. Another act of war. And Pat, think about all the stuff that now that we're finding out, besides COVID, China, racial divide in the United States, China, all these freaking people tied to Congress. It worked.
Of course it worked.
Of course it worked.
NBA, the year that LeBron won the Mickey Mouse championship.
Yeah.
What did it say? The BLM was everywhere. Black Lives Matter everywhere. They use this to divide America and win elections.
And let me ask you a question. Tom, be honest. Can a president ever survive racial riots, billions of dollars of damage in the United States, number one, and number two, a pandemic? Can anybody survive? If Jesus Christ was the president, would Americans vote for him if he lived through that?
And we can talk about the 2020 election. Look how many votes it took to beat him.
Is that Millie?
Yeah.
Is that Millie?
This
Can you
is
play
Millie.
This clip? Watch this.
Attack you would
Chinese thought wrongly that the United States was going to attack them. I am certain, guaranteed certain, that President Trump had no intent to attack. And it was my task to make sure I communicated that. And the purpose was to de-escalate, calm things down.
You shared all that earlier. I understand.
And as part of that,
just say, did you or did you not tell him that if we were going to attack, you would let him know?
as part of that conversation, I said, General Lee, there's not going to be a war, there's not going to be an attack between great powers. And if there was, the tensions would build up. There'd be calls going back and forth from all kinds of senior officials. I said, hell, General Lee, I'll probably give you a call, but we're not going to attack you.
Bingo.
Trust me,
You're
we're
going to
not going to
call
attack you.
a foreign
These
nation
are
that we're at
two
war with.
great powers.
Good for him. Good riddance to this guy. That's the problem. The enemy from within, Pat. Foreign and domestic. I'm more concerned about the domestic because they're willing to sell their souls for money, Pat, on top of these influencers, and sell our nation. Okay? That's the problem that I have. It's these guys. When I see people like Hassan Piker who dressed up like a freaking moron, communist Mao that killed millions and millions of his own people, like you're an idiot and you're in our country doing it, and it pisses me off.
China from one side, Soros and the globalist, liberalist, globalist from the other side, and the shining city on the hill is under siege.
Yep.
People need to understand that. You have your freedoms, you have the liberties and the things we have here, but we are under siege from both sides.
This is coming. Brace for impact. Everybody's been confusing, saying, no, that's the enemy. No, that's the enemy. No, that's the enemy. Behind closed doors, China's over here controlling it all. And it's like, what a great... By the way, kudos to them learning the propaganda game better than anybody else. A story came out here saying how Israel's trying to use $90 million propaganda, whether it's working or not, or it's failing. Guess what? Israel miserably failed the propaganda game. China,
Winners.
respect to their propaganda game on what they did. Yeah, Israel's $50 million experiment to change U.S. public opinion. Let me get to the next story here. Check this out. Iran. This is getting serious. And just now, the numbers this morning for crude oil was at what, 88, 89? Brent crude was at 87,
You're
88.
correct.
Yeah.
88, 89
88,
was
89.
British Brent.
Yes.
U.S. was 82.5.
82.5. But here's what's going on with Iran. U.S. cumulative death toll officially hit 17, okay? 17. A U.S. service member was killed on Saturday, July 18th in northern Iraq during a controlled detonation operation targeting unexpected ordnance from a downed Iranian drone officially announced by CENTCOM on Sunday. Jordan's base attack fatalities, 2 U.S. service personnel who were confirmed killed on Friday, July 17, just 3 days ago, during a massive Iranian ballistic missile and drone strike targeting a U.S.-hosted based in Jordan, remains recovered from Jordan side. A third U.S. service member, originally listed as missing in action from Jordan attack, is presumed dead. CENTCOM confirmed Sunday that unidentified remains, disturbing to even read that, were recovered at the impact site and undergoing formal DNA verification. And mainland Iranian casualties, U.S. precision strike overnight into northwestern Iran killed at least one individual and left multiple wounded. Civilian left without water, while casualty figures remain heavily censored inside Iran. U.S. strikes on utility targets have completely cut off drinking water of 10,000 civilians across 20 villages in Hormuzgan province following the destruction of the Bunji desalination pump. And you're seeing them attacking desalination locations. 9 consecutive nights of the U.S. bombing, CENTCOM included its 9th consecutive night of heavy air and sea operations against mainland Iran on July 19, deploying fighter jets and maritime Tomahawk cruise missiles. I mean, this has not slowed down. We asked this question this morning. What do you do now, right? What do you do now with all this stuff that's happening? Well, look, here's the reality of it, my opinion, and Tom, Vinny, I'll come to you guys. A day before, it could have been a week before the war started, I was on Mario Nafal, and he asked me a question about whether I would, if I was the leader, whether we would kill Khamenei. And I said, I wouldn't do it. He's 86 years old. If you do, you better be ready for a war that's going to be decades because you're killing their supreme leader. Well, we did. And another 49 on top of that. So you got 50 total leaders that you kill. Then you want to come and negotiate with the surviving guy that's left, Mojtaba Khamenei, whose father, mom, and wife, I believe, you have killed. And you think these guys are going to be negotiating reasonably? They're not. So what do you do now in a situation like this? You either have to put that entire regime to be eliminated, or you have to know for decades these guys are going to be seeking vengeance when you're no longer president. And this is Trump. When you are no longer president. So maybe they won't do anything under your watch, but they will on another president's watch. And then what happens? So the dominoes, the first dominoes of this goes back to what happened when we killed their 50 leaders. But we are now in a position where, you know, this morning, I think just 45 minutes ago, Iran is proposing a new ceasefire, whatever their deal is, right? That they're proposing this morning. Markets went into the greens immediately when that was announced. But it's a bad situation right now with what's going on with Iran. A lot of it happens after you kill the 50 leaders. So, Tom, what are your thoughts with what we're hearing right now with Iran?
Well, what I want to know is there are little reports that are out there from some second-tier news agencies and independent reporters. None of this has been, but what I'm about to say has not been validated by CENTCOM, but CENTCOM should be speaking to it. They are alleging that there is limited response from the Patriot battery that was at that Jordan base. And that people have been saying, you know, you've been hearing that, and Vinny is a guy in the military, what is your number one thing? Your ammunition supply line is literally number one, and then your food and water supply line is literally number two.
You have to defend yourself and feed the freaking soldiers that are manning the weapons.
That's exactly. First, you got to protect yourself so there's somebody to feed.
Yeah.
So there's these things out there that right now there are unconfirmed reports or rumors that potentially the Patriot battery may have been out of ammunition, and the Patriot missiles are the ones that intercept. So that's why these things landed. If that's true, then it kind of connects the dots, Pat, and what people have been saying, that Hegseth has been denying that, you know, there's supply lines and some limited, that the longer this goes on, the more that we get strained on the ammunition to respond, number one. But number two, what's even more bothersome to me is seeing all the markets reacting now. We went almost 3 weeks. Remember the markets were hardly moving, Vinny? Like a little bit. Hey, you know, oil is 67, 68. And even as maybe some tense words were going back and forth with U.S. and Iranian negotiators, we never said that. We said this. But the markets were calm. The markets have stopped being calm. The markets are now upset, and oil is back up into the 80s, not 80.1, back up into the high 80s. Pat quoted him. And that makes me worried because now the markets are getting worried. So I agree with Pat that this thing has been protracted. It's exactly what he said on Mario Nafal. We're now living it out, but now the markets are getting nervous. And look at it, a rumor of a ceasefire, and then the markets reverse a little bit this morning. It's very tense. We've gone in now to a very, very, mushy, volatile situation.
Yeah, listen, we're in too deep. We're in too deep. Anyways, let me kind of share with you what some of the
May
world
again.
leaders said. Donald Trump said, we hit him hard again tonight, and we did it in the honor of the American service members killed in Jordan. Here's what Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei had to say in a fiercely defined written statement broadcast across Iranian state TV. He stated, U.S. actions prove President Trump's signature is utterly worthless and devoid of credibility, pledging that the U.S. will face even heavier costs and further humiliation. Rubio came out and said the following on Sunday. It's clear that Iran, at least some people in Iran, want to control the strait and hold that as a leverage against the world. This is what he said. And then Iran's foreign minister, Ismail Baghai, condemned the U.S. targeting of the Darkhovin facility as a terrorist and aggressive American attack and a U.S. crime, demanding that the IAEA Board of Governors and Director General abandon political bias and issue a formal condemnation of Washington. So it's not getting any prettier. It's not getting any prettier. Vinny, thoughts?
I mean, and before I even say this isn't what I want to happen. Okay, I am anti. I don't want any wars happening unless we're giving the facts in the beginning, and it's to actually save people that are under duress. Okay. The only way to win this war, Pat, the only way to win objective to get rid of this freaking IRGC is a freaking full ground invasion, and you have to bomb the hell out of them. Plain and simple, full stop. That's the only way, okay? Because if not, this is going to be a forever war. 1 week it's going to be, hey, they said they're going to be cool. Trump said they're cool. Then we bomb the hell out of them. Trump says he's going to bomb everybody and kill everybody. And billions of dollars are going to be spent. Tom made a great point about our weapons are freaking depleted. And the main part about this entire situation, and by the way, my heart goes out to the Iranian people, which I thought the majority of this war was going to be for them. You know, we got rid of their enriched uranium, which I thought we bombed the hell out of them the first time. It's now 17 United States military service personnel who have all perished for a war that a lot of people are saying that we shouldn't have even started in the first place, Pat. And it's not going to stop. Because guess what Iran's not doing? They're not bombing us here. No, they're going to our freaking assets that we have in the Middle East, and they're showing us, hey, we can't come to you with our missiles or whatever the hell we have, but we can kill Americans in different nations. Which as a veteran, that drives me crazy because that's 17 families that lives are ruined because of something that we shouldn't even have done.
And now that just the calculus in the strait itself is now changed. You have Larak Island, which is on the north side, which is where Iran wants to put the toll booth, right?
Yes.
Larak Island, which is the long island up on the north side of it. Then you've got the South Passage. It goes right by Oman on the map. And that's where the ships have been, that's where the British and the American ships supposedly got rid of the mines. And Iran says, no, we don't want you to go there. And every now and then they're hitting these little surface missiles onto the ships that are there. And then we said, hey, we'll just take Karg Island and we'll step on the air hose and suffocate them. And that didn't happen. And now we find out that one of our key amphibious landing ships is now out of commission, and they've been working on it for almost a month and didn't announce it. One of our key amphibious landing ships that we tracked coming all the way from San Diego. So the whole calculus of the military involvement, hey, we will protect it, we will open the strait. All of this has changed, and the negotiators have gone haywire. So this, Pat, I feel like we're back on May 15th, and it's completely mushy.
Yeah, I think it's a massive missed opportunity, and I'll tell you where. It's a massive missed opportunity because the World Cup was the biggest positive distraction you had, and you missed out on that opportunity.
Point.
Now, here's the thing. A part of it to me is not surprised why you killed 50 of their top leaders. Whether you want to blame that on Israel, you want to put it on U.S. where they killed too many people that they were negotiating with. Is this it? Can you play this clip? This is a week before the war began. Go for it.
And better for the country. Hopefully we'll see
I'm
that
going to give you a weird answer. He's 86 years old. He's about to die anyways. Leave it alone. You don't need to kill an 80. If you're going to kill somebody, kill a 45-year-old. I'm just being honest. If you're going to go out there and take out a leader, go after the leader that's got a 40-year run rate. Who cares about a 3-year run rate? His time has come. If you're going to do it, I'm not imposing anything for people to be done. But all I'm saying is take out a young leader, okay? When you hear stories about USSR, the Soviet Union was following Ronald Reagan 17 years before he ran because the way he would communicate would get people to get behind him, That's the guy that was their enemy. Guess who they took out? How old was Charlie Kirk when they took him out? 31. Why did they take him out? He's got 60 more years. 60 more years they got.
Right there. I mean, that's you take out an 86-year-old. Can you imagine, like, you're playing, basketball against a team, and you're double teaming a 43-year-old center. What are you doing double teaming a 43-year-old center? The guy can't even run. His knees are buckling. He's got like 17 knee braces on. No, you got to go after the youth. Anyways, it's already in too deep. My concern right now is if you look at the Trump's victories, the things that were very important to me as he was going, tariffs was one of them. Supreme Court ruled against it. They're now sending back $71 billion of tariff refunds, okay? And a lot of these companies are using it to offset inflation caused by the Iran war. Number two was a voter ID. We saw what happened with that with Supreme Court ruling. Amy Coney Barrett all of a sudden is worried for her life. So she goes from voting 81% of the time with conservatives to in the 50% because she's worried. I suggest she resigns and step away. But the likelihood of that happening is less than 5% of her stepping aside. But who knows? Maybe there could be a surprise. And then while you're going through this, you had a couple other things that you're going through that you're trying to put together. But, the reality of it is, tariffs was big, voter ID was big, Iran was big, and let's see what they do here with Iran. I'm always optimistic. I'm always from the mindset of it's all going to end up working itself out, always. And there's a percentage that you got to stay worried, but we'll see what will take place next. While all this stuff is going on, Tate brothers are back at it again. They're in Miami promoting a fight. And suddenly, while they're in Miami promoting a fight, what page is this on, by the way? While they're in Miami promoting a fight,
it's a bare
you
knuckle
get the story.
fight. Yeah.
Social media influencers, Andrew and Tristan Tate, are arrested in Miami. And you see the video. I don't know if you have the video when they're going out there and arresting them. If you want to pull up the video of Tate, if you just type in on X, go on X, type in Tate arrest, you'll see the video while they pull up to him. And so Andrew and Tristan Tate were arrested Saturday in Miami after the UK sought their extradition on dozens of charges, including rape and sex trafficking. The Tates, who are brothers, millions of followers, they're kind of promoting them on who they are and what they were. The U.S. Marshal Service, this is it. Play the clip. To the U.S. Marshal, by the way. They said the arrests were made in accordance with the treaties and law enforcement agreement governing Justice Department extraditions. The brothers are expected to make an appearance at a federal court early next week. I think the court today, 9 o'clock, they were at court. Their lawyer, Joe McBride, for the brothers, said they are innocent. Andrew and Tristan Tate will walk free. America does not do Britain's political dirty work. Not here, never. The UK's Crown Prosecution Service said it authorized 42 charges against Andrew Tate, who is 39 years old. Tristan Tate, 38, faced 17 charges. The service said there's a total of 7 alleged victims, and that goes into all these other stories. But the judge that they're facing, I believe today, I want to say the judge's name is Judge Lewis. I think hardcore level 10 type of a liberal judge that we're talking about. So who knows what's going to happen here? We know DeSantis' camp have never been fans of Tate's. They've even called him out. Last time Tate was on a podcast, he called out DeSantis. And James Huthmeyer, who's a star in Florida, this guy's going to end up doing something long-term politically. Very talented, very capable. He even said a few things on X about him. So some of this stuff has to do with child pornography is what they're talking about, which, to put that on them. Can you imagine UK, you have Rupert Lowe, who comes out with a report with 250,000 Pakistanis, with 87% of them being Pakistanis, this rape gang, and you hear nothing. But the first Muslim they go after is Andrew Tate. That's what it's come down to. Not all the other rape cases you have in your state that you release people. Not all the other stuff that goes on where judges comes out and says, no. This is their way of living. Leave them. Not that. Don't look at that. No, not at all. UK is a safe place. This rape stuff is not happening. It's just a propaganda. But let's go get this guy, Andrew and Tristan Tate. It becomes a little bit weird. Yeah, right there. Hootmar, can you go to that tweet? How the turntables Breaking Andrew and Tristan Tate have been arrested in Miami. Obviously, they can't stand those guys on what they're doing. So, you have a thing going there. I'll pause right here. Vinny, your thoughts on this case here?
Well, first, Pat, and again, people out there, they're these guys with the women. Listen, put all that aside. If you can't tell that this is all politically driven and motivated, like, you're being delusional, okay? I know Andrew. I know his brother. I can't speak for every single thing, every little minuscule thing, but you know what? When you talk, and I'm not blaming them, Pat, but when you talk about the system, when you constantly are talking about the powers that be and the matrix, it's not surprising that they're always going to come after you and they're never going to stop. I remember when Andrew, he was speaking to somebody and he said, the way that they work is first they take your money, then they try to destroy your reputation through the media, and then they try to kill you, okay? And as it seems, they're still working on the second one because this is going to be nonstop. This will never, ever, ever stop, Pat. And when it comes to this world of women and whatever, as we've learned through all the stuff that America's gone through with all these false allegations, with people just coming forward, all you need is an allegation. That is it. And if there's somebody in the system that hates you, they even look for these type of females. They look for these type of girls that say, oh, were you with him during this time and this time? Okay, just say this, we'll give you some money. That's how it's working. That's how it is. And you know what? I'm sorry, Pat, if you're living a life, and we had this conversation with who in the car the other day? With the kids. And I was telling them, guys, they're like, well, what happened, Uncle Vinny? Did he do? I go, listen, just know this will never happen to you if you treat women with respect and dignity. You find the girl that you love, you get married, blah, blah, blah. When you have a pool of 1,000 women, guys, the odds of some of them coming forward, even if it's a lie, are very, very high, especially when there's money involved and especially when there's people of high power that want to destroy you, and you're seeing it in real time.
Yeah. Adam, let's try you one more time.
PBD, you got me now, sir?
Go for it. Let's test it out.
Great. Well, listen, I'll tell you, much like the 50 Cent album, Iran didn't want this podcast to come out. They must have done some internet blackout. But I'm here in a bunker ready to give you some answers. So we're talking about Andrew Tate. Is that right?
Yes.
So let me just lay it on you with the Tates. I like the Tates. I'm rooting for the Tates. I think the Tates are the definition of poking the bear too hard, and now they're getting done dirty. And people don't want to hear what they have to say. Question for you guys, what were they charged with and convicted of all the things in Romania?
I don't think
I'll give you the quick answer. It was nothing.
Zero.
They were convicted of nothing. So now the UK is going back in time, like they're Michael J. Fox, to try to find something and pin it on Tates. They continue to win. You might not like them, and it's totally okay to disagree with them. What you should be appalled by is the justice system in the UK. At this point, their credibility is at an all-time low. So I'm rooting for the Tates. I don't know what the latest iteration of their situation is, but you know how they say some people are built for this? Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate are built for this, and I hope they get out.
Adam, much better audio. Tom, go for it.
So obviously, this is Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, which is sort of FBI of the UK. And you saw the U.S. Marshals. Did the U.S. Marshals come in there with dogs, some 10 guys? No. They walked up to him. They said, hey, we have a warrant here. You got to come with us. It was calm. There was no drama. Their security guy, the guy with the beard, was just kind of standing there. It was orderly. His associate was allowed to come up and talk to him. So the U.S. is just sitting there saying, well, we have a treaty with the UK, and this is an extradition request, guys, so you got to come with us. You may not like it. I don't know what it's about, but what I'm glad is we didn't throw them on the ground and do all the things you could do, but we simply kind of executed on it. However, that's the part that people need to understand. This was us obeying a treaty with the UK, and it's the UK diving into this, and it just goes to show you, if the FBI or the CPS or MI6, if somebody wants your hide, they are going to move heaven and earth to get it.
Yeah, they will. But by the way, but if you're part of a rape gang in UK, 250,000 and 87% being Pakistanis,
and they don't want your hide.
But no, don't touch those guys. No, not them, not them. Let's go to a different place. So here's kind of where I'm at with this. Look, I always said the following: if they find something and you did it, it is what it is. I mean, it's That's the court's job. Go find it. The lawyers got to do their part. Prosecutors, everybody's got to do their fight. And then we find that, and the world says, okay, they did or they didn't. But that's on you to pull off. Nothing so far you've been able to pull off. Everything is allegation, allegation, allegation. Another 4 girls came. Another 3 girls came. Another 2 girls came. And is that a byproduct of the life they lived? Yes. Is that a byproduct of how crazy stuff they said? Yes. Does that piss off a place like UK? Sure. But UK loses credibility in this place where they don't do their part to protect the British people, the nationalists, the people that actually love their own country. Britain's losing credibility for having 7 prime ministers in 10 years. And I think they just announced a recent one. If they haven't, they're about to. I think the guy's name is Andy Dunham. He's another leftist.
He's in just now.
Oh, he's in.
He's
okay,
in.
he's
You're
official
right. Just
in.
now.
So 7 prime ministers in 10 years. You think you have any credibility? You? UK? I don't think so. 7 prime ministers in 10 years? They have lost so much credibility for them to come out, and then you want to do something like this? But my speculation is that Florida was involved in this. My speculation is that Florida decided to participate and work with them, and maybe even the DOJ indirectly, because it's coming from the top. So we'll see as this gets closer where they're at. I don't know. We'll learn more as they're going through. I think today's the first court hearing. They're having a couple other things that's going to happen this week. We may even have his lawyer on the podcast on Thursday to give us some thoughts on what's going on. Vinny,
well, just really fast, because I know a lot of people were pissed off because they're American citizens, and like who the hell is the UK? But they have dual citizenship. They have dual citizenship.
That's the problem.
So that's the problem, guys.
Now I don't know if they're going to give it up or not. I mean, their father, their family, their life, a lot of it is also part there. But let me get to the next story. Next story is Odyssey. Odyssey comes out, movie, Christopher Nolan. $375 million budget total. That includes $125 million marketing. So $250 plus $125, $375. Opening weekend, $264 million, breaking Christopher Nolan's previous record of Batman. Which Batman was it, Tom, that did $249?
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises did $249 million. I even think, if I'm not mistaken, it beat Oppenheimer. Some people are predicting this thing's going to do around $750 million. Let me kind of give you, at first when we were watching this, everybody was talking about this whole Elliot Page guy, transgender, that they put the part in there, and he's doing that because without having a character like that, you cannot win, an Oscar, and you can't participate in it. And I looked at the numbers on how much they paid actors. Do you know the exact amount, how much they paid everybody? Okay, let me kind of go through. What do you think Elliot Page made? Just guess.
$3 million.
$1.5 million. Then if you go to some of the big names, John Leguizamo, what do you think he got paid?
$2 million.
$2.5 million. John Bernthal, he got paid $3 million. Lupita Nyong, you know which one that is?
Helena
with the scars
Troy.
on her face. Helena Troy, $4 million. Charlize Theron, $5 million. Robert Pattinson, who played Attinius, he got paid $6 million. Anne Hathaway, only $7 million. I thought it would be a little bit higher. Zendaya, Athena, who was not a bigger character than Anne Hathaway, $8 million.
Holy moly.
And then you have Tom Holland, $10 million. Matt Damon, $15 million is what he got paid for the movie.
That's not a lot for
That's not a lot for Matt Damon. I thought Matt was going to be in the 25 to 30s, but he got paid $15. I thought he did very good. Now, for me, when you look at the story, the acting, everything that was going on, we came home and we had a lot of discussions with it. I had a very good conversation with Tom's daughter, Brooke, who knew everything about the story of Homer. And, by the way, do you know when this was written? Do you know the exact time when this was written? We talked about it. 800 BC. This book was written 800 BC by Homer, which some say Homer is not even a real character, but they said he was blind. Homer was blind. He wrote this and he wrote the Iliad. And it turns into this movie, and couple of the parts, when you go into the characters where you question it, the one girl who was the witch, where Matt Damon shows up and they turn his soldiers into pigs while they're eating the food. What's her name?
Cersei.
And that's also the name in the other show, right? Cersei.
Game of Thrones. She's the bad. As well. She's the queen.
She's the queen. So this witch was supposed to be a very attractive witch, but she wasn't in the movie. And one of the characters with the crow, that's not really in the book. The crow is supposed to be her sister that she has animosity on. And Matt Damon, who kind of figures out as he's going to Odysseus, when he shoots the deer, it ends up becoming a human being. He knows something's going on there. That was an interesting, scene that they went through. Poseidon's son, the guy with the one-eyed, you know who I'm talking about?
Cyclops.
The Cyclops.
Cyclops, that he was eating, some of the soldiers and how they got away from it with all these. He says, follow the sheep. No sheep are by themselves. They're always with it. And so you kind of climb up, and then he sees Poseidon's son, and they have to escape him, and they get on the ship. Eventually, they make it out of there. The ending of the story, one of the scenes that was left out, which I love that Brooke shared this with me, there's a scene about when he comes back, and Anne Hathaway, who was playing Penelope, doesn't know whether this is Odysseus or not, because he's been gone for about a decade, and he hung out with Charlize Theron, who Charlize Theron is playing Calypso, who's a person who always falls in love with people that come there, but they never love her back. And she keeps feeding them this, what do you call it, this flower.
Oh, what was it called?
What was that flower called? Yeah,
the orchid?
That you forget. You forget about your past. And this is her way of getting people to love her, but it never happened. Anyways, he comes back. And one scene that she said should have been in the book that wasn't is the scene where Penelope is trying to find out if Odysseus is really Odysseus. She goes and tells the workers loud enough so Odysseus is listening and says, hey, I need you to remove this bed from my bedroom. I want this thing to be out of here. And he responds back and says, you can't. That bed is specially made because it's got the roots to an olive tree. And then she says, there's only two people that know this. Me and Odysseus.
Wow.
Because that was the first time it was under a tree that they, and so he took the tree and turned that tree into her bed.
The marriage bed, yeah.
Marriage bed tied to an olive tree. Look, I enjoyed it. I don't know what to tell you. I enjoy watching. I give it a 7.5. I didn't give it like a 9.5 Gladiator, but it's definitely better than Gladiator 2. And I think you should go watch it. There's a lot of people that say you shouldn't waste your time. And that whole Elliot Page thing, it wasn't that much of a deal for me to be like, what is this person doing here? I get what he's doing. But I actually like watching a movie. Vinny, your thoughts?
It was good. And I'm telling everybody, I recommend everybody, do not watch it unless you're watching it in an IMAX theater. The movie was shot in an all IMAX cameras. I guess he invented, Christopher Nolan, Tommy, something to cover the actual cameras because they make a lot of noise during the shooting. So he created that. I think it was good, Pat. It was a little long. All the reviews, Rotten Tomatoes is 95 and 97. It was visually good. I mean, how long, Tom? How long is the Odyssey, the book? How many pages, Pat?
Oh, it's like, depending on what language you're reading it in, but it's like 500 pages. The Iliad is 500 pages. Yeah. Brooke went through a full semester, and they didn't get through the book. They went through these key passages, and then they read a narrative summary of everything, and then went deep into these passages, into the characters and everything. Yeah. It's 500 freaking pages.
So if you're that well-versed, and like Tom's daughter, Brooke, we had a 20-minute briefing before we even watched the movie, and she said, Vinny, if you've read the book and you understand it, there are so many missing pieces, and I get it. It's freaking 500 pages. You can't. It should have been. She said something really good, Pat. She said it should have been a series. It should have been 2 or 3 movies, like in Dune. But with the casting, I understand, like you said, what he's doing. Nolan's playing the game. He wants to win an Oscar, and to win the Oscar, the Academy's representation and inclusion standards. You have to have, a midget. You have to have, they have to have all this crazy stuff. The one thing, Pat, I'm going to say it fast, that pissed me off. John Leguizamo and Humberto's going to play this clip. This is one of the biggest, besides the Trump derangement syndrome and America sucks and all this stuff, the biggest complaining, whining, victimhood mentalities I've ever seen. He says here, Pat, Hollywood's not the most accepting place when it comes to Latinos and the most aggressively unrepresented group in America. Can you please play this clip?
What's been your odyssey in terms of fighting for your identity or your Hollywood career?
Oh.
Well, it's always been a battle. I mean, Hollywood is not the most accepting place, even though we Latin people are 30 to 40% of the box office and a third of streamers. We're still not represented. We're the most aggressively underrepresented group in America. So that's been my odyssey, to try to bring some parity.
And this is what bothers me. This is coming from a guy that I've known, Pat, has been acting since the 80s. Over 100 movies, TV projects, made millions. How much did you say he made, Pat?
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million. It's not that he wants more opportunities for Latinos. He's constantly selling other Latinos on the idea that the system's stacked against them, even though his life proves the opposite. Okay, he reminds me of the Obamas. Everything's racist, everything is this. You are the president. Hey, Michelle, your husband was president twice. Okay, and then look around. Marcelo Hernandez, Selena Gomez, Danny Trejo, Sofia Vergara, Salma Hayek, Penelope Cruz, Rosen Sanchez, Jennifer Lopez, Benicio del Toro. I could keep going. Andy Garcia, Eva Longoria. How underrepresented? I don't get it, Pat. It's America is full of successful Latinos, comedians, musicians, everything. Stop teaching this victimhood mentality, John. Okay, you're doing it. Everybody else can do it. And I just think it's ridiculous, Tom. It pisses me off.
And if you're going to be a victim and you're going to start quoting history, for the love of God, get it right. He goes off and says, I believe the quote was, oh, and they took 500 tons of gold that funded the Renaissance. Hey, words talk, numbers scream. Here's a number for you, 1410. That was the start of the Renaissance. Yeah. 100 tons of gold, 100 million tons of gold. That was the estimate. The 100,000 tons of gold is the estimate that was taken from the Incas and the Mayans in 1697. Yeah. So it's just like 300 years later. So it's like, oh, they took this and they funded it. Queen Isabella didn't send them in there till 1600. It's like 1550, 1530. I think it was 1532. Yeah. The Queen's proclamation. Pat, here's your ships. Here's your guys. We think there's some gold or some stuff out there. Go get it. And then you come back all in 1697. So it's like, if you're going to tell the story and relate it to history, get your facts straight, dude, before you go into this victim stuff.
He's all victim. But you know what stands out even more? That's something like not that many people were talking about. We talked about it. This is one of the most famous Greek stories ever told. And there's not one major Greek actor in any major role in the entire, like, if you guys think about Pat, that's the most bizarre. If you're going to talk about a Greek epic, how do you not include at least one prominent Greek, anybody, Pat? Anything. Put one Greek person in there. You had every other race in there.
I take two fast sides of it. Side number one, it was an amazing movie, amazing effects and everything that goes with it. And that's the same way that, guess what? Dark Knight, when we saw Christopher Nolan in the first Batman movie he did, we said, wait, this is dark. He's got character things on Batman. Batman is very dark, holding the villain over. Remember? He holds the villain over the thing, and then has like this moral decision. Does he drop the guy or not? That's not Batman. Batman's good. Well, that was Christopher Nolan making an outstanding film of Batman based on Batman. Mm-hmm. If you wanted a biopic of basically exactly what Homer was talking about, wait for HBO to do like 20 episodes and do a historical biopic.
What score do you give the movie?
I give it an 8.
You give it an 8.
I remember when we walked out. I'm going 7.75.
All right, I said 7.5 is what I gave it. So only one Greek actor appears to be in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. Yannis Kokiamessos. He has a brief role as the prophetic villager who warns Odysseus about the disasters ahead, and he's reportedly the film's only actor who speaks Greek.
I stand corrected. One guy that doesn't even have
a... Can you pull up his picture so at least we can give credit to this Giannis guy?
Oh, man.
Please go to, let's find out who he is. Giannis. Shout out to you. Great job for representing Greeks in a movie.
Is that him?
Oh,
yeah, that's
Giannis.
him in the
was
movie.
he the guy with one eye that had the one eye that looked blind? His character in the movie? You know the guy I'm talking about?
It might have been. Yeah. I think that's him.
I don't know. I think it's the top left guy.
We don't even remember.
All right, let's get to the next one. Next story I want to get into.
I got something for you, PBD.
If you haven't seen it, I'm not coming to you.
I actually have seen it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I actually love the fact that the Odyssey is the #1 movie in the world right now. By the way, we have another Greek in Miami, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I agree with you, Vinny, on Marcelo hosting the ESPYs, crushed it. But the reason I like the Odyssey, the #1 movie in the world, is because it's teaching people history. Our favorite movies that we always talk about, Gladiator, Ancient Rome, Braveheart, The Patriot, Saving Private Ryan, all historical movies. You know, a lot of young people think that Homer is Homer Simpson. Learn from history, you're destined to repeat it. Number 2, biggest takeaway. The #1 move in the movie was the Trojan horse. I think Europe should watch the movie at this point, understanding the third world. And then PBD, the last point, what I loved, this guy goes on this 20-year adventure to do what? Return home, to get his queen and get his girl back. So you go through the struggle. The struggle's real, but I thought it was great, an historical, epic movie.
Yeah, fantastic. So what'd you give it, 0 to 10?
I give it a 9.0.
Okay, good. Okay, all right, so let's go to the next story. Next story I want to get to is, I kind of like the story. A lot of times people think, if I buy a sports team, a lot of money to be made in it and all this stuff. Is there not? Well, this MLS's newest billionaire owner thinks investors can do better than buying a sports team. Really? Yeah, I mean, and by the way, he does math to give you actual rate of return on what it looks like depending on how you make your investment. So
Peter Malik recently acquired control of Major League Soccer sport in Kansas City at a valuation of approximately $700 million, but says investors can often earn better returns with far less trouble elsewhere. The LA Lakers rose from $67.5 million purchased in 1979 is what Jerry Buss bought it for. $67.5 million he bought the Lakers, and they just sold it for $10 billion in 2025, an annual rate of return, you ready, of 11.5%. The S&P 500 in the same exact period has done 12.4% with dividends over the same period, which would have turned the $67.5 million into $16 billion. So it's interesting. Put the money into Lakers, you get to $10 billion. Put the money into S&P 500, you get $16 billion, $6 billion more if you would have put it in S&P instead of a sports team. You could have outperformed better with a lot more anonymity, a lot less hassle, a lot less drama, just placing a trade, he said. He views Sporting KC as a passion project rather than a strictly economic investment. He built creative planning from approximately $30 million in assets in 2004, a financial planning firm overseas or advising on $700 billion. He remains the majority owner and has an estimated $16.1 billion net worth. The sports franchises can still diversify portfolios because their values are less sensitive to recession. Since 2000, the average NFL and NBA valuations have multiplied roughly 17 and 26 times respectively, outperforming the S&P 500 during that period. However, team owners do not always prioritize profit, and sports funds commonly charge substantial management and performance fees. Malik recommends conventional private equity first, followed by sports only for wealth investors seeking an asset less correlated with public markets. Media rights, growth, and billionaire demand have pushed major North America teams to an average valuation of 10.1 times revenue, up to 2.9 times in 2000. Tom, do you agree with them?
Yeah, I do agree with him. And by the way, the 60s...
Thanks, Tom.
No,
I'm just saying. No, go ahead. I'm teasing you. Go ahead.
Okay. Actually, I disagree with this asshole.
Tom, that dad joke crushed.
There you go. Just give me a nudge. I'll go. For the Lakers, by the way, if you convert that to today's dollars, Vinny, the $67 million, it's equal to $311 million today. Damn. So that's still, for $10 billion, what is that, Pat? 33x or something like that? So that's still powerful. But here's what happened. Over that amount of time, let's just look at the Lakers. What you had is television happened. Then cable television happened. Then local broadcast home games happened. When Pat and I, you were in LA and we were growing up, and you, when you were back there early in your comedy career, do you know that sometimes you can only have Laker games on radio? And then other games would actually be on TV. Every single game wasn't on every time they played. And then you had local TV. All of that created these bidding wars. And then the growth of cable and the growth of big advertising dollars, led by pharmaceuticals, which is another story we'll cover later, and all of the money that got in there to drive that. And so now, if you look at it, where do you think streaming is going to maybe go up 30% of the latest TV contract, Pat? Do you expect that in 5 years? No.
30%?
30%? 50%?
I don't know.
But it takes that kind of jumps to make the franchise worth something because they live on it. So I think he's making a point that's like saying, hey, today you have a different purpose for buying a sports team, and it's not the appreciation that Jerry Buss got over the last 30 years.
Yeah, and by the way, it's funny while we're talking about this. To me, if you look at basic numbers, the way he broke it down, one would have to run that in different runs, in different 20-year runs, 30-year runs, because you never know. You know, what is that famous line? Past performance is not indicative of future results,
future performance.
Right? Future performance. A lot of husbands use that line as well.
Hey,
but so you
speaking of pharmaceuticals,
Tom's on fire.
Tom is on fire.
Tom's on fire, babe.
5 minutes. I'm impressed.
What's in this?
So Adam, what do you think? What do you think when you hear something like this? Because it's an interesting story. I like what the guy's saying. What do you think about his story?
Well, you know, PBD, I got to tell you, Vinny and I were actually trying to pool our money together. We see all the success about the Savannah Bananas. We were trying to buy the Miami Plátanos and bring a team to Miami. But the number one thing that teams have in common that have the highest return on their investment is they do one thing, and that's win. The biggest, best teams that have the highest value, they win, whether it's the Yankees, the Lakers, the Dodgers. I don't know what happened to the Cowboys. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith, but they win. Much like in Gladiator, you got to win the crowd. But for the average investor out there, you're not going to buy a sports team. Put your money in the S&P 500, roll the dice, see who wins. But for those that are looking to buy a sports team, this is some math for you right there.
What is this show? So there's a new show in town. The Savannah Bananas are on their way to being worth as much as a team. $500 million. Yankees, $8.2 billion. Dodgers, $6.8 billion. Boston Red Sox, 4.8. Good for them for going to a number one. It's a phenomenal story with the founder.
It's the greatest show on the field, really, and that's what it comes down to. You got to win the crowd.
He has put on a show, and they're doing a great job with, what they're doing. By the way, let me get to the next story. Tell me what you think about this. So White House, Trump is selling millisecond access to his Truth Social blast, and traders are already lining up. And this story alone is creating a lot of controversy. Some people are saying, what are you doing? What is this all about? So let me read it to you, and Tom, I'll come to you. This is a Fortune story. Trump Media plans to sell financial institutions millisecond access to posts from prominent Truth Social accounts, potentially including President Trump's market-moving announcement. The service Truth PSI would give trading firms an advantage before posts about traffic, wars, or other policies, move stocks, bonds, oil prices, and interest rates. Trump has the platform's largest audience with 12.9 million followers and remains Trump's media's biggest shareholder. He's selling expedited privilege access to information about what he is doing as a president. Government ethics expert Kathleen Clark said, calling the arrangement an improper exploitation of government power of enriching himself. Trump Media did not say whether presidential posts would be included or what customers would pay. The company said that service would cover the highest-ranking Truth Social accounts and launch next month with customers already committed. Federal conflict of interest laws generally restrict officials from profiting through their public duties, but presidents and vice presidents are exempt. Previous presidents nevertheless divested individual holdings and used blind trust. Trump has retained his business interests. Tom, thoughts?
So first of all, I think Fortune is playing games with the headline here because they can. What you just read there is the truth. The president can't sell access to his proclamations only to a certain group of traders who are then going to go trade on the open market. That's usually been done in the past, and it's called Nancy Pelosi. And we all looked at what happened there. And by the way, I'm just speaking of the objective look at her increase in wealth and what she controlled and what others in government, like Ro Khanna, what their wealth increased. And so we all know, Pat, that is something that's a sore point. You mean Americans are upset that there's two levels, that they think there's two systems of justice, and they also think there's two systems of economic access. So, and there's laws here that prevent this. So the president can't do it to his, but what they're saying, Trump Media and the Trump Media CEO, which is Kevin McGurn, didn't say where the presidential posts would be included. They're not. They're going to be the high-ranking accounts, but they're going to give traders millisecond asset. And if you don't think traders already have millisecond access, they do. They have millisecond access to PR. You'll have
no, you're good.
Yeah, have access to like PR, like a press release comes out. Something comes out on a, I'll give you an example. If you've ever seen a press release of an earnings report, Vinny, you have text, and then at the bottom you have the charts. They'll drop that, and then like right when the market closes or after the market closes. And these guys get millisecond access and are making off-hours trades or pre-market trades for tomorrow, but they're already in. They already have that because the AI grabs that and grabs that chart immediately and jumps on it. So this is what they're saying. Hey, Pat, would you like a subscription to the data feed and you will have millisecond access?
Are you okay with it?
I am not okay if this is any of the Trump stuff because I think that on the federal guidelines, that will come out and be not legal. I don't think you can do that with his post. But when you're doing this for everybody else, man, I understand they're going to make money for Truth Social. I understand that it's legal. But if it's Trump's company, it's kind of a bad look in a world where we have been calling Nancy Pelosi crooked. And yet here's another way that like the rich will get richer with proprietary access to data nobody else has.
Any thoughts?
Well, the attitude is going to be, Tom, like you said, if they keep doing it and their side keeps doing it, why can't the other side do it? And if it's legal, Pat, so be it. You know what I mean? It's the same as when Trump was talking with Hillary Clinton, when she's like, him and his taxes and blah, blah. He's like, I'm taking advantage of the tax. You guys make the laws. You guys make the rules. If you guys want to change it, you don't want me to do it, then change it. So, and again, Tom, with me, it's like, we obviously know,
it can be legal, but not a good look.
Exactly. So, but at this point, he has 2 years left. He's on his way out. I think Trump is a whole different attitude and whole mindset now. He doesn't care anymore, and he's trying to make.
Trump's going to pardon himself, his family. He thinks he's going to do self-pardon and pardoning.
Can he do it? Can he pardon himself?
Biden just set the tone.
Oh, Pat, how about this? 1,000%. I want him to pardon everybody. I don't care. Gardner, his chef, pardon every babysitters, pardon everybody, because if they're doing it, why not? Okay, because it's not going to stop. Once the Democrats come in power, they're going to do it again. So yeah, pardon everybody. Who knows? I might need it at one point.
Thoughts?
Shout out to Vinny, Oprah Winfrey. Just you get a pardon, you get a pardon. So I'm with you on that. But I agree with Tom, man. I'm going to be a little bit critical of Trump right now. This is not a good look for the administration. At the same time, you don't really know what the truth is. Whoever wrote this article,
you can't handle the truth.
Probably not can't handle the truth. Bingo. But as much as I don't think it's a good look, here's something that maybe some people can learn. You can disagree with some policies of Trump, but not take your ball and go home and be a baby and not try to quit the team. I'm still on Team America. I'm still on Team Trump. And I can criticize maybe this move isn't ideal. I don't know. Tom said it's not a good look. I agree. But one thing you got to give Trump credit for, the shady Democrats, people and even Republicans, they're doing stuff behind closed doors, backroom deals. Trump's putting it out in the open. All right, cool. Pay for play. Quid pro quo. And essentially what Trump is honestly enabling people to do at the end of the day, he says, look, if Wall Street could get rich on this, you can too. Ideally, Main Street getting rich off of Wall Street should be the goal for everyday people growing their wealth. But Wall Street's going to do what Wall Street's going to do to make that money, essentially. So not the best look, but I get it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think to me, if you do a lot of this stuff, you're just going to allow the next guy to do. Well, they did it. Well, he does it. Well, he does. Kind of like when the kids say, well, he did this and he had candy and how he does it. Well, then I'm going to do this. No, that doesn't make it right if we're just going to use that script of them doing it. So if there's nothing illegal about it and the lawyers can argue that there's nothing illegal about it, okay, you want to do it? Fine. If there is, I'm not comfortable with it. I don't think it should be something. Stephen A. Smith did a video about a couple weeks ago saying, how did Clintons and Obamas all of a sudden become worth $100 million? How did they become so wealthy so quickly? How did you make your money? And it was calling them out. And it was kudos to him. And by the way, transitioning to Stephen A., Stephen A.'s daughter was on his podcast. Stephen A. was just with us 2 days ago. I don't know what it was. 3 days ago, we're together. He came, was at the Yankees game with us. But him and his daughter are on the podcast. I think his daughter's going to be a superstar. I think she's going to be a superstar, talented. But what they're there, they ask a question of what his daughter would do if Stephen A. got older. Would she have him living with her and hiring a nurse or putting him in an old folks home? Listen to this answer, and I'm curious, Tom, what you think about this. Go for it.
You need to find me my own house.
You really are on drugs.
You need to find me an Amex card. You need to find me more clothes. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much to build. Like how you said, you're still going up. We can go up together. This doesn't have to be a you thing. It can be a we thing.
And then when I'm older and I have nothing.
Nursing home.
And I need you to take care of me.
Nursing home.
You can't do that.
Nursing
You're not
home.
going to do that.
2 words, Dad.
Nursing home. So you'd put your dad in a nursing home.
Nursing home. Well, what else would I do? Take care of you myself?
How about that? Or put me in your home and have 24-hour nursing assistant.
In my house?
Why not?
With my kids? And my car? And my husband? And my pool? In my guest room?
I'm just your dad.
Exactly.
The one that made it all possible.
I would love you from a distance, Dad. You know I love you from a distance. We better that way. You my heart, though.
Can we leave now? Can you just say goodbye to the audience? Because I'm done with this.
I had a a great time here with you
You can
guys.
pause it right there.
I would watch
Okay.
this reality show all day.
So
they should
what do you think, Tom? What do you think about what she said, nursing home? He's making the money. This the highest paid guy in the marketplace, okay? He's the goat in the space. He's made a lot of money. That money's probably going to go to her. What do you think about the answer she gave?
Stephen A., if you're listening, and I know you are, I have two lovely daughters that have a slightly different perspective. And I think they need to get together because I think it's just perspective of kids sometimes and that they need to see it. My mom lived with us and grandma was playing cards. Grandma was playing Uno and they loved it. Absolutely loved it. My sister's up in Boynton Beach. We would come to visit. We would go eat each other dinner. And it was a really precious time. And I think as your daughter gets older and closer to that, and she can see the joy of her kids with grandpa, you know, doing things, playing Uno, going out in the pool, doing all that. Clearly, Stephen A., you're going to have your own house. It'd be more like she and her husband, her kids, maybe they get the privilege to move into your house, this side of inheritance, and then you all live together as a family. But if you ever want to get together, one of my daughters in town, you and Samantha, let's get together. It won't be a fight. It's going to be a perspectives on the table.
Stephen, if I was you, I would right now, you know, when you're doing the trust and everything, put it in there, make it, sign it to where nobody gets anything unless you get to live in the house with them. They have to take care of you. Can you do that? Nobody gets $1. You don't get $1 until I'm in my underwear, walking around your house with a coffee, doing whatever I want to do.
He's down the street from some of the best estate planners in
he's
Miami.
Gucci.
He can get it done. Adam, how do you process it? Do you have a different angle than what Tom and Vinny just said?
Yeah, I do, man. Look, I love Stephen A., but when I watch that little thing, you know that emoji with the face that goes like this? That was me for Stephen A. But at the very least, we know, you know, they say you get it from your mama. She gets her talent and her personality from her dad. She's captivating. I'll give her that. But she failed the test. You think Stephen A. is not thinking in 3D? He says, let me put my beautiful, talented daughter on camera, and I'm a tester. Let me see if she's going to take care of dad when he gets old. Sweetheart, unless you make $100 million, you're not going to have what dad has. He's going to what's have called an estate plan and long-term care, and he's going to have it all set up. He was seeing if his daughter loved him enough to not throw him under the bus on TV, and she did, with grace, I may add. But not the best look, but Stephen A. ain't stupid. He knows what he's doing. I agree with Vinny on the will. But I see what PBD does with his dad, moved him across the country, part of the life, it's incredible. I see the relationship that Tom has with Babs. I see the relationship that Vinny has with his mom. It makes me want to get closer with my mom. We all know that my dad isn't here, but at the end of the day, I hope that Stephen A. and his daughter work this out. It wasn't the best look for her.
Yeah. So, look, listen. I mean, a part of this, I'm sure they're having fun and they're trolling the audience.
Of course.
And they're rage baiting the audience. But let me tell you, I saw something just yesterday, maybe even early this morning, by Dr. Oz. Okay, I don't know if you have that clip I just sent you. I just texted it to you. There's a clip I just saw from Dr. Oz. The benefits of having your kids around your parents, meaning grandparents. Watch this. Go ahead and break it down. If you can refresh it, watch this, folks.
Child's secret weapon for success may not be a tutor or a coach or an expensive app. It might be a grandparent. And as one, I love this research.
Watch this.
See what I'm talking about? First off, grandparents are anxiety busters. Kids with involved grandparents tend to have better emotional well-being. Why is that? Because grandparents provide unconditional love with a lot fewer rules. We can hand out cookies and life advice in the same afternoon. Second, we're brain builders. Studies show grandparents can have a huge impact on a child's vocabulary and their language development. It turns out that hearing the same story for the 50th time is actually educational. Who knew? And third, this is the big one, a strong bond with a grandparent can help protect kids from risky behaviors, like jumping into the pool, right? They can help them feel connected to someone who loves them, believes in them, and occasionally sneaks them extra dessert. They tend to make better choices that way. So the next time you're deciding whether to call grandma or granddad, remind everybody that it's not just family time. It's emotional support. It's brain training. A little extra protection for the...
You can pause it right
I don't know. Does Gabriel ever sneak an extra dessert?
Are you kidding me? Like, if you look at Brooklyn, what... Anyways,
Contraband
I don't even want to get
candy?
in. Yesterday, we come home, and she goes to Vinny, They hid all the cookies. And I'm like, Uncle, and Vinny goes like this, oh, they can't do that. You deserve everything. I'm like, Vinny, no.
She goes,
Let me tell you guys what happened. I'm going to give you the funniest scene. I wish I were recording this. We're at the Yankee Stadium. We're giving a tour to all our clients at Bedeva Consulting. If you're one of our clients that, we had an event at the house here, anyways. So we go to the Yankee Stadium. We're done with the tour. I come out. Jen brought the kids. Okay. Try to visualize. I come out. Brooklyn is 20 yards away from me. I'm walking up to her. Vinny's over here. Brooklyn goes like this. Oh, my God. She's running like this. And I put my hands out, and she runs right past me to Vinny. And she goes to Vinny. You know why? Because Vinny brought a ring. What do you call it?
A ring pop. She asked me.
Don't get me wrong. She loves Vinny. So it's not just the candy.
Yeah.
They have a very good relationship together.
I love her.
But she runs up, and then she gets the ring pop. Everybody wants to do everything for Brooklyn. The part I want to go back to with Stephen A. and his daughter is there's a massive benefit to being around grandparents who are positive and who give good advice and counsel to the kids. By the way, when my kids are around Tom, you're getting smarter. Forget about kids. I'm getting smart. Every time I'm around Tom, they're telling stories. When I came back yesterday, we're talking about Homer. It was a competition of who can give more stories about Homer. Mm-hmm. And it's him or Brooke. It's like, well, here's what happened. Here's what happened. Here's
Brooke
what happened.
won.
Brooke won.
Yeah.
But the idea is you're always learning. So, I think it's a special gift when you have your grandparents, your parents around your kids. It's an added layer of reassurance, knowledge, wisdom, a bunch of benefits, and probably a little bit more cookie and candy because Papa knows. Papa has a section, and he tells me, but I only give sugar-free candy to Brooklyn. It's only sugar-free candy. I said, Dad, it's still red. These are not good things. No, it's okay. It's okay. Anyways, I got to change some of the guidelines we have when it comes down to candy, but we're figuring that part out. Let me go into a couple other stories here before we wrap up. One of the stories I want to get into is Bill Maher. Here's Bill Maher. Bill Maher is being interviewed about who he's going to be voting for. And you don't hear him say stuff like this, ever. But here's what Bill Maher recently said. He says, yes, my vote is in play. What does that mean? Here's Bill.
You told J.D. Vance you're open, your vote is up for grabs.
Yes, my vote is in play because it can't be Trump running.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not living in communist America. I mean, I know the talking point is that, well, it's not communism, it's socialism. Okay, I've read the quotes from the DSA platform, from their own mouths. Don't tell me I'm not seeing what I am seeing. And DSA, again, they say things like, takeover of key industries, government. That's communism. There is a definition.
By the way, Trump's doing that too.
Of course. Yes.
And to a degree that we haven't seen any other president ever got a Republican do.
Great. That's crazy too.
He's got a piece of intel.
Right.
A piece of the AI companies.
He treats everything like it's a real estate deal.
You told J.D. Vance you're
so
open.
What's happening here? What's happening here with Bill? You think anything's happening with Bill? And how many other bills you think are out there?
There's multiple. Stephen A. and and I love him to death, but the Bill Mahers and a lot of these people that have woken up, Chamath and all them, Pat, they're in a different category, but they're finally realizing what you created, okay? But it's too late. For 10 years, the Bill Mahers and all these people cheered as all these radical voices, Pat, took over their own party, and while they didn't give a damn, their only message was, Orange man, Trump bad, he's bad, Hitler. They obsessed over him. They mocked anybody like us that sounded the alarm. Okay, they labeled anybody that was talking crap, Pat, as hate. And they applauded while these extremists hijacked the agenda. Now, some of them like him are waking up. But guess what? This horror, the Frankenstein monster that you helped create, they're here. And they're not going anywhere, Pat. It's too late. Okay, the fight for the identity of the party, it's coming. It's around the corner. It's here, Pat. It is here, okay? They didn't lose their identity. They surrounded it. They wanted it. And but while they were looking this way, Pat, this kept growing and growing and growing. And now Trump is on his way out, 2 years left, and they're turning back, and they're like, oh, my God. And for Bill Maher, one of the biggest leftists out there, now he's finally saying, oh, wait a minute. This socialism, communism, guess what? You guys spent freaking 10 years talking crap about one man, and now your party is finished. So now deal with it. And that's it.
Tom,
The first thing that Bill Maher said is, well, Trump's not running. So that shows you that the first thing on their mind is no Trump, not Trump, never Trump, all Trump bad. And not everything is in that category. They should take a look at what's happening in a lot of sectors and a lot of things in the economy. We got to get the war done. We got to deal with data centers. There's a lot of things that can and will and should be addressed. So, but it's all about not Trump. A lot of things that can and will and should be addressed. So, but it's all about not Trump, not Trump, not Trump, not Trump.
Yep.
So now that there's an open decision, he backs up. And what does he say? I'm not sure I like what I see next to the D.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And here's him, by the way. Here's him saying that to J.D. Vance. And by the way, the D is, guys, please. Like,
yeah, Tom is on a roll
Democrats.
tonight.
I don't want
It's
Tom
definitely Democrats.
Let's go ahead. Play
Democrat.
Yeah, go ahead.
If this is where the Democratic Party is going, where this democratic socialist, this obsession with Israel, with the Jew hating, with they don't believe in capitalism, no prisons, if this is where they're going, my vote is in play.
Okay.
And
I like to hear that.
It actually always has been. Every year, I don't make my decision by who has an R or a D. I actually always came to the conclusion that the Democrat was probably better.
Sure.
And voted for them.
Okay.
And Trump can't run again, and he'd be a little too exciting for me anyway. So it's either going to be you or Rubio. Like, if this is where the Democrat...
If you would have said 10 years ago, there's going to come a time that Bill Maher is going to say Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance, maybe even 5 years ago, that Bill is there. Imagine how much, and by the way, do you know the more and more you watch what, you know how I keep saying the Democratic candidate could be AOC, could be AOC, could
Absolutely.
be AOC. I am hoping it is. I am hoping it is.
Why?
You know why? Because if she's the Democratic candidate, there is a lot. We think, right? If you look at this right now, Gavin Newsom is 1. Who's 2? Ossoff, who's 3? AOC. But by how much? By 1%.
Yep.
Ossoff just came up because he's been calling out Trump lately.
And the full nation has not seen him yet.
I hope it's AOC. I hope it's AOC. Because if it's AOC, we keep thinking like all Democrats are bad people. All Republicans are bad people. All Muslims are bad people. All nationalists are bad people. All Jews are bad people. That's simply not true. And we have to just understand that part, okay? Are there some Jews that want control and they want to do this and do? Yes. Are there some Muslims that want to see Sharia law come into America? Yes. Are there some Democrats that want socialism and communism? Yes. Are there some, Republicans that want all colored people gone and just a white nationalism? Yes. Yes, we can't say no, but there's millions of sensible Democrats that they're Democrats because of pro-choice, that they're Democrats because of what happened with Martin Luther King or some of the events back in the days, that they're Democrats because of other issues that took place, and they became Democrats. Those Democrats are on the trading block right now, open to the idea of going conservative. So I hope socialism makes a massive move. But if there's one thing Republicans have to get it right, to get the masses, if the Republicans don't understand the solution, and it's not a hard fix, by the way. It's actually a very easy fix. If JD or Marco Rubio, one of these two guys comes out and talks about no taxes, no federal income tax paid. If you vote me, no federal income tax paid for anybody under the age of 30. What does that mean? We want to give you a head start. That'll be the hottest thing you'll announce. It's about $250 billion. I don't know the exact amount. I think it's about $250 billion of how much revenue comes in. Can you pull up how much taxes is collected of people under the age of 30? They have to figure out a way to come out and do something that folks under the age of 30 don't pay any federal income taxes. You know what happened if they do that? Why are we doing this? This is your head start. Hurry up and make money to get the down payment for your house. Hurry up and make money to get money to have kids. Hurry up and make money in your 20s and don't lollygag, because this is your only chance you have that you will not be paying federal income tax. Go make that money. Republicans have to figure out a way to make life better for the youth because they are really going through it. They are. So to me, I hope it's an AOC. I hope it's a socialist. I hope it's that person. And I think Democrats are going to be like, look, I'm a Democrat, but I'm not a socialist. Those are two different things. And I hope that changes right there. So total federal income, I said $250 billion. It's around $275 billion if you just do federal income taxes. Okay. Let's invest that into the kids. That money's going to go into the economy anyways. All that $275 to $350 billion is saying what? Cut some shit that you do at the government. Give that money to them. That money goes into the economy. They're going to spend it. They're going to buy a house. They're going to buy a car. They're going to have kids. They're going to invest into education. Some of them, they're going to invest into some dumb things, but that's the risk you got to take. But if somebody can get behind that message, I think that'd be attractive. And I'd like to see one of those two guys saying it early. Don't wait till election time. Somebody needs to, on a podcast, drop it to be the first to say it. Rubio or JD. One, they have to believe in that idea. Of
course.
And two is, let's find a way to make life better for our youth.
But Pat, amazing point. That should be the campaign freaking slogan. Like, no federal tax under 30. That would be on a T-shirt and sell. But guys, let's not, like, Bill Maher is acting like he's so surprised. And who did he endorse in 2016? It wasn't Hillary Clinton. Who did he back? Bernie Sanders, the freaking guy that goes to Russia.
Who's this, Bill Maher?
Bill Maher supported him. He said, FEA, he goes, I want to help your campaign. I want to see you get the nomination. So it's not as if you were willing to vote for a guy that's a socialist / communist that wants to go to freaking Russia and be all the taxing all of your freaking people, all the millionaires and billionaires. It's like, give me a freaking break. It's too late. It's too late. So now you guys have to deal with what you guys created. So...
Well, he's turning, and there's people that are noticing it. I remember I was pretty shocked. I just went back and looked it up. On May 15th, Bill Maher did an amazing post on X I thought was well written. I hope he wrote it and it wasn't one of his writers. I hope it came from his heart, because it certainly sounded like it did. And he sends it up there, and Sarah Eisen, who's very conservative, and she's on CNBC, she retweets it with simply this, Pat, every word, period. Because she agreed with where he was going. And so I believe that there is a change going with him. You know, you can't judge. You got to be careful about who do you support back then, Vinny, because that's very true. And he said a lot of things that hurt and sting conservatives like us. But you're also allowed to morph and change. You're allowed to evolve forward.
I agree. That's fine.
You know, when I hear the things that my mom said when she first got married to my dad, that was the influence of her Democrat parents who were FDR Democrats. But you look at my mom now, forget about it. She's evolved, and she's older and concerned about security and things like that. I think you're seeing that there's a lot more to your question that you asked, Pat. I think, yes, there are a lot more Bill Mahers that are finding it safe to come out in public, because when Bill Maher does that, he's allowing other people that have different platforms to say it's safe to come out and say that.
I'm coming to you, Adam. Thoughts?
Yes, sir. Well, I agree with what PBD said about individual groups and their own self-interest. Every group should be looking out for their own self-interest, for your family, for the people around you. The catch is, does that come with, do you want not only what's best for you, but what's best for America? The problem that Bill Maher is realizing, that a lot of us have realized for a few years now, that a lot of us have realized for decades, is the Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party that we're used to. They don't love America, full stop. This new DSA, they don't want to save America. They don't want to pass the Save America Act. They want to change or tear down America. So thank God Bill Maher, 70 years old, voting Democrats for 50 years almost, is going to potentially change his vote. I'm not so much worried about that. I'm worried about what that represents. I think 2028, more people that have voted Democrat their entire life are going to for a second say, you know what? Is this really me? And my advice to them is make them earn your vote. Don't just give it to them because you're black or you're Jewish or you're a woman. Make each party earn your vote.
And Tom,
I think at the end of the day, it will be Rubio, but we'll see what happens with that.
Tom, I could forgive him. And guess what? If he wants to come and vote Republican and help us in 2028 so we can keep the future looking bright, I'm all for it. But the damage has been done for the 10 years that it was Tom. Think about everything that happened for those 10 years, from the border to everything. Crickets. It was just Trump, 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 Trump. And now we're left with this freaking mess. I 1000%
agree.
And now they let the enemy come in, Tom, and now we have to deal with it. And I'll forgive him. That's fine. I'm a Christian. Good. I'll forgive you.
Well, let me do this.
Yeah.
Let me do this. I have another candidate for you. Okay, and I think you would be into this candidate. So I think you would be into this candidate. So the state of Maine produces incredible candidates.
I didn't know where you were going.
And this candidate is so talented. Can you type in Maine Senator Ashley
Webb?
I want you to watch her break down her policies on why he is. So I keep saying she and he. Why he is so qualified to become the senator. If you have the clip, is that it? Social media sensation? Is this
That's him. There he is.
Okay, yeah, that's the one right there. Can you play that clip? Folks, the only thing I tell you is, my only suggestion as you're watching is you're going to be inspired to want to vote and support support him financially. But I'm telling you, take a couple days to assess your vote and your support. Play this clip. This is Ashley Webb. What's his real name? Do we know his real name? I don't know what his real name is, but this is Ashley Webb. Go for it.
What qualifications do you have to serve in the U.S. Senate?
Oh, I ran for office several times. Didn't win, but I did run. And then I'm a songwriter, and then I write my own books. And then I suppose my transparency, I wouldn't lie to the people, and I wouldn't deceive the people like we're being deceived right now. Like we get lied to.
Your whole life is a lie, dude.
Mirrors, like what's going on with ICE, pretending like these victims did something wrong. Like that's unacceptable. And I suppose the biggest thing is, like, I'm just an angry citizen now, and if I got elected, I'd be an angry senator, and I think that would probably be their worst nightmare.
The Democratic Party in a nutshell is right there. The same thing that we were just talking about the Bill Maher. That's what you guys created. A man pretending to be a freaking woman talking about people lying and deceiving.
But I think Bill Maher is against that. And by the way, I think but honestly, I think, Vinny, this is the part that we have to understand. I think truly most sensible Democrats are against that. I think the average Democrat, we have 10% of 10 or 15% of our audience is Democrat that watches podcasts, right? If you're a sensible Democrat and you watch it, you're going to be like, what the hell are you guys doing? And by the way, how the hell did he make it on the stage in the first place?
Oh, my God.
How did that happen? You know what he said? I don't even want to say. Do you want to read this? I don't even want to read this. By the way, show it. I'll let the audience read this.
Oh, my. I can't even say it out loud.
Oh.
I mean, this is a question being asked, and the guy says he gets his monthly period, but through his...
You know what?
Behind.
Oh. You think the average... But by the way, honestly, I'm going to ask you. I'm curious to know what you'll say. What percentage of Democrats hear this and they say, I'll support this?
Honestly,
I want to know what you
50%.
think. No, I disagree.
I think it's 50%.
No,
but can I say one thing? No, let me stick up for myself. Bill Maher didn't start talking negatively about the trans movement till when? Recently.
Yeah.
So where was he for all those years when we were saying it?
But to be fair with him, one of the greatest monologues he did, breaking down, saying at this pace we're all going to be gay. Remember that one thing that he did, and that was like 2.5 years ago. So I don't know. I think Bill, deep down inside, is so furious with his Democratic Party that he's been so publicly supported for decades, and he is sitting there saying, what the hell is going on? But the only reason I don't even want to get into this, I don't want to ask you guys, what do you guys think about the story? I'm moving on. I only show this to give you another option for somebody they can be excited about for the future.
Okay, but did you see the conspiracy? Can you show it, Humberto? That Ashley Webb is actually Graham Plattner because she's running to take his spot. Humberto, I slacked it to you. Guys, I'm telling you right now, look at the eyes, look at the facial structure, and you guys tell me that this isn't the same person. Adam, could you see this? Watch this. Look at this. Guys, wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, my God. Einhorn is Finkel, and Finkel is Einhorn. That is... I don't know. But at least thank you. I appreciate that.
You know what? Pat wants to move on. I'll say this. Vermont Democrats and Maine Democrats are not normal Democrats. If you listen to them up there, they're not. No, they're not. I'm not picking on them. I'm being descriptive. Because this guy is like a Meatloaf song. I mean, they want this candidate.
And I will do anything.
No. It's the other song. This is Maine Democrats. I want you. I need you. But there ain't no way I'm ever.
I won't do that, Tom.
No. It's I want you. I need you. But there ain't no way ever going to love you. But don't feel sad because 2 out of 3 ain't bad. That's the Maine Democrats with this
song,
guy.
baby.
Okay. All right, let me go.
I kind of think that Vinny's right. I don't know if that was Graham Plattner or Ma'am Fatner. I don't know who that was, but
Pat's right.
just when
Core
I thought-
Democrats are cringing.
Just when
But
I
the
thought
Vermont-
Maine
Maine
Democrats
Democrats are
couldn't
not.
get any more absurd,
We went
they
back
roll
to
out this
Maine.
dude, and I feel like it's like the Austin Powers scene when it's like, "That's not your mother, that's a man, baby," and it's like, "No, that was actually your mom." But
let me read this story.
what a ridiculous candidate!
Let me read this story. Olive Garden, folks, becomes unlikely face of voter ID after restaurant policy goes viral. I don't know if you guys saw this tweet or not, so I retweeted it. If you want to go to Twitter and just go to my Twitter account, you should find it easily. Just go to it. So Olive Garden, you guys know this is one of those restaurants that is on their last lifeline. Like they're barely, honesty.
Yeah.
They're barely trying to make it.
Yeah.
But after this, I may have to take my family to just go to Olive Garden once just to support them. Can you go on their tweet first, please? Can you go on there? Because they're responding to somebody. Go up. Yeah, so there you go. So zoom in a little bit. What you need to know about the Pasta Pass sale starts tomorrow. So then Super Womario, okay, asks a question. Are you able to order pasta for family using this Pasta Pass, or that exclusively for the person with the card at the table? I don't know about you, but it'd be really weird with just one person having unlimited pasta while everyone awkwardly waits. And this is what Olive Garden said. No, the never-ending Pasta Pass is only for use of the pass holder whose name is printed on the pass. Passes are personalized and non-transferable. Pass holders must present a what? A valid photo ID along with the pass at the time of ordering.
Is it?
That's from Olive Garden,
Now-
and we had to translate that from German. Nein! The
Now,
never-ending pasta is only for the pass holder.
Now, keep in mind, okay, I don't know what that meant, but keep
Very
this in
German.
mind.
Tom, you were doing so good today on the jokes, Tom.
So when you read this, you kind of sitting there saying, wait a minute, I need an ID to get this unlimited pasta because it's so important, but I don't need an ID to be able to vote for president.
No.
Can you imagine? What's more important, Vinny, pasta or president?
Pat's never. Have you ever tried the?
It's
the
really
breakfast?
pasta, right?
I mean,
Never-ending pasta,
By the way,
baby.
now here's the other thing. What percentage of Democrats you think support voter ID for Americans? What percentage of Democrats?
Democrats.
According to a CNN poll, what
Let me
percentage
not
of
look.
Democrats?
Let me
Can you
not
pull
look.
it up?
Say-
Pull up that video.
Can I
Do you know
guess
which one I'm
that?
talking
Can
about?
I
Wait,
guess?
no, I want
Can I
you.
guess?
Both of you guys, I want you to guess.
72%.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Or 60.
Yeah.
70.
I think
Harry
70% of Democrats think that ID should be
How much?
needed to vote.
I will show-
70%.
Okay.
What is it? I
So
don't
check
know.
this out. Right there. Play that clip, please. Just play that clip. Okay.
85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76%
Blacks.
of black Americans favor it.
Democrat?
So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this
Thank
country.
you.
A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast
But here's
majority
the
of
question.
Americans agree
But
with
Harry,
Nicki Minaj
respectfully,
that, in fact, you should have
you
a
can
photo
pause
ID.
it right there. Respectfully, Harry, which party is trying to make it controversial? Because that's the other poll, not the Republican Party. The Democratic Party, like Newsom and others, are trying to make that controversial that even blacks are saying, why shouldn't I be able to get an ID? I can get an ID. Hispanics, I can get an ID. But the Democratic Party says, no, you can't. Don't say that. It's very hard for you. So kudos to Olive Garden. They accidentally, if you were to bet and see Olive Garden politically, the person who tweeted it, which way you think they lean politically?
Oh, Republican.
No, the person that tweeted on Olive Garden, that's a
Adam?
19-year-old social media coordinator that's probably tweeting that back and giving the details, like a 22-year-old, something
Well,
like
it could
that.
be 85%. Oh, gosh.
Well, Pat, maybe Olive Garden should run the voting system in the country. Well, that you vote and they give you like a handful of pasta or like a meatball, like in.
So like a national
wedding
day
center.
off to vote.
Yes.
And free lunch.
Free lunch. Dude, Pat, you should definitely. I think
With an ID.
Olive Garden should take over and run the voting. It would happen in one day, too, and everybody would get fat.
So, Adam, where are you at with this? By the way, when's the last time all of you guys had Olive Garden? Honestly, when's the last time you ate
I
at
ate
Olive
there
Garden?
one time, and I was so full. It was ridiculous. Like,
When?
I took
When
advantage
was
of
it? How long ago?
20-some years ago.
Oh, you haven't been there 20 years ago.
I haven't.
Tom, when's the last time you ate at Olive Garden?
I don't think I've been to Olive Garden in the last 3 years.
3?
Oh, so 3 years. You were 3 years ago.
20.
Man, I haven't been to Olive Garden like at least the last 3 weeks, man.
Adam, when's the last time you went to Olive Garden?
At least 3 weeks since I went to
When
Olive
is the
Garden.
last time you went to Olive Garden?
Man, I tell you what, I haven't ate a carb in 22 years, Pat. I'm trying to stay lean and mean.
What?
Guys, it's a basic question, Adam. When is the last time you went to Olive Garden?
20-something years ago.
Okay, that's all you got to say. So, okay, now give me your thoughts on this Olive Garden
that.
story. Go ahead. Tell us your Olive Garden story. What are your thoughts about this Olive Garden story with IDs?
Well, this is the rules for thee, but not for we. Everybody knows that ID makes sense, guys. Can we get past the fact that you need an ID for everything? To rent a car, to buy cigarettes, to buy alcohol. I'm traveling across the world right now. What do you think? I just show up with an Olive Garden pass to get through customs? You have to show your ID. You have to show your passport. It's nonsensical. 75-80% of Americans are like, yeah, you need an ID because they have a brain. So if Olive Garden can do it, we should probably take a note from Prima Pastaville and implement in our voting systems. But some of our government officials and politicians are too weak and feckless to actually bring this up.
Let me tell you.
We won't forget. We're going to ask for your ID,
that's
buddy.
Amy Coney Barrett. That's why she should resign. Amy Coney Barrett should resign. She could have done something about it. The Supreme Court should have done something about it. This was a top 3 issue for me, and she voted against it. Okay? She voted against it. Can you pull up, did Amy Coney Barrett vote to support voter ID on ChatGPT? Did Amy Coney Barrett support voter ID at the Supreme Court? Okay? So the point is, this was.
How many people, question for you, PBD.
How many people what?
How many justices voted for and against?
I think it was a 5-4 against, and what's his name? Kavanaugh had a explanation on his, if I'm not mistaken.
Who were the justices that voted against the SAVE Act?
We talked about this just last week. That shows
the
in
three
2022.
amigos plus Roberts plus Coney Barrett.
So,
decisions.
2 conservatives, 3 liberals.
Can you go a little bit lower? Go a little bit lower. A little bit lower. Wasn't that the chart that we had that we went through this? Okay, wasn't that the chart that we had? We had a chart about this last week. So to me, a bigger part about this is that this was a common sense thing that Supreme Court voted against it, that the president came back and said, I'm not doing the housing bill with the Congress unless if you add voter ID to it. And then eventually he came back and said, let's go ahead and do it because it's the right thing to do. And they did. This was the chart. Yeah, this was a chart if you want to make it bigger. This is Amy Coney Barrett. Pre-2022, she voted 81% of the time with the conservatives. And then afterwards, 59, 57, 50%. And she just became the person that's not helping pass a lot of the things that the American people voted for. And so you need Supreme Court to have a lot of these things happen. Let me get to the last story before we wrap up. Last story I want to get to is, this is a weird story. Weird story. Pastors are using AI to help write sermons. Grapple with where to draw the line. And you know who wrote this story? Wall Street Journal. I would have never guessed Wall Street Journal would write the story, but let me read it to you. Half of all pastors say they use AI for brainstorming or idea generation, and roughly a quarter used to help write sermons, up from 12% in 2024, according to a Barna Group. The trend has drawn theological pushback to the Vatican earlier this year. Pope Leo warned clergy that artificial intelligence can't give a true homily. Daryl Stetler, lead pastor of Bible Methodist Church in Oklahoma City, is among ChatGPT's top 1% users and runs a Facebook group of 500 pastors experimenting with technology. He makes $600 a week plus a housing stipend and takes construction jobs on the side. A sermon used to take him 10 to 15 hours to prepare. A chatbot does it now. First batch research shaves off several hours. This AI does not enjoy what it finds, he said. It cannot love it. The time he saves goes towards people, the hospital visits. Tom, what do you think about pastors using ChatGPT for their sermons? Does it bother you?
It doesn't bother me if they're using it just to pull research together. But you know what's the interesting thing about the pastorate is being able to bring it to the lives of people where they're living today. In other words, Scripture doesn't change, Christ's teaching doesn't change, how we get saved doesn't change, but the things that we're fighting as parents, like our kids, making decisions and feeling insecure because social media, that's a new thing. And bringing messages to people where they live today in the new context of life as we see it, as it gets complicated, it doesn't bother me if they're using ChatGPT to assemble it together. It's not like he's going to say, hey, I'd like to mix it up a little bit on the story of the Exodus from Egypt. Should the Jews make it or not? If that's like, no.
We made it, Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom, we made it.
Exactly. But you see what I mean, Adam? It's not like you're going to take AI and say, nope, the waters of the Red Sea close in and all those poor Jewish people die. No, they cross on dry land. So it's not going to change the teachings, but I hope, and what the Pope said, it's not a true homily, meaning you're not bringing it together into the life of people, because part of being a pastor and preaching and teaching is you preach warnings and you teach love and then you preach applications. So what goes through here, it doesn't really bother me, but I hope it's not a shortcut to people maybe being an uninformed deliverer. If someone did a ChatGPT on your sales system that you built, Pat, and then they had no experience in sale and are trying to make videos about it, it's going to look clumsy because they're not authentic. They have nothing to draw on. Am I right? Okay, it's the same thing for a pastor. If that's happening, then that would really bother me. But if it's somebody like Dudley saying, hey, I'm going to organize, bring me all the verses together on love from Corinthians through Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, I'd like to talk about the Paul preaching on love from a New Testament perspective, and he can pull that together in 10 minutes and put his sermon together, then I think that's a really wonderful thing.
Yeah. Vinny, where are you at with this?
Well, I'm going to go with Tom, what he said. AI should be used as a tool. Like if he uses a pastor to like organize notes or, where does it say this? And it brings that up. It's like using it as like a Google or like Bible, like a Bible app. But the second it starts writing the sermon, Pat, and they're just memorizing it, I'm not a fan of it. Like it should come from the sermon from like prayer and you're studying the word and the Holy Spirit. What are you going to say, Tom?
The Holy Spirit inspiring you?
Yeah.
The way it says in the New Testament?
Yeah, not in algorithms. And Pat, who knows? Whoever's in charge of it starts twisting this or watering down the scripture and making it not go the way that it's really supposed to go. So, people go to church not to hear AI. I want to hear the pastor. I want to hear his experience, his story, and what God has placed in his heart.
Yeah,
that's what I want to hear.
Quick shout out to Dudley. Dudley one day shows me every what do you call it? Sermon he's ever given.
All the notes.
And Vinny, every word of every sermon he's ever given is written on a yellow pad, boxes and boxes of the last 40 years.
Jeez.
It's insane.
It's like the Library of Congress.
Everything he reads from stage to pulpit, he wrote it.
I love that.
Everything. He's handwritten it. So no wonder he's one of the greatest pastors we have in America. When you would look forward to go hearing him speak on Sunday. If you've never checked him out, go check him out, some of his sermons. Dudley Rutherford. He's phenomenal. Adam, I'll give you the final words on this because I know you're heavily involved. You spend a lot of time with pastors. And let's see what the crazy thing that you're going to say right now to us. Go ahead.
I also speak sarcasm, so I understand exactly what you're saying, PBD. But what I think about ChatGPT and AI is use it, but just don't become it. So the one thing that ChatGPT cannot replace, whether you're a podcaster or a pastor, is the ability to tell a story and connect with people on a human level. We're getting so robotic, so technical, so much AI out there that we don't know what's real. What I'm so happy about and encouraging about, and thank you, PBD, for kind of helping me, is more people going to church, more people going to synagogue, more people getting God in their life. I'm in Israel right now. I didn't think I'd be doing a podcast from Israel minus the audio issues. And here's a funny story for you, PBD. I'm going to tie this whole thing together. I land in Israel and I go to this little bookstore. And you know what book I see right there? Dudley Rutherford's book about his trips to Israel and what he learned walking in the footsteps of Christ.
I love that.
So I bought the book. So I'll be reading that book from Pastor Dudley Rutherford.
How great of a story is that?
So it's full circle coming together. Yeah. Come home to Jesus, PBD, because he loves you.
And I know we're done, Pat. I want to give Adam a shout out, which I freaking love you for it. Adam, where are you?
I'm in Jerusalem.
And you're still wearing the American flag, the pin. That's what I'm talking about.
I interviewed the former Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Michael Oren. He had a Israeli and American flag pin on. I said, sir,
it
I'm
has to
stick
be
with this one
America.
right here.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Hey, while you're there, go visit Ahavat Yeshua. And it's right in the middle of Jerusalem. Write it down. Go see Ahavat Yeshua. Go visit that group.
Tom, you must have read my mind because I'm going to be there tomorrow, baby.
Are you serious? That exact place?
I'm not joking.
Bingo.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
going to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre tomorrow.
Bring us back some gifts, Adam. I
BD, the last time
Fantastic.
the last time I was here, I went to the Armenian area.
Side, yes.
And I think I got you some gifts from there.
We're going to be going soon, but we're going to go to Armenia, and then we're going to go to Israel. We're going to be coming soon, so stay tuned. And then we got to go to Poland as well. Let's not forget. Dan, wrapping up to all the business owners out there, whatever you do, don't miss the June 29th networking, July 29th networking event. Don't miss that from 6 to 8. So do not, whatever you do, play this clip one more time. Come join us. Lots of deals, lots of business deals. And, of course, all of this leads to going into the Vault Conference. Go for it. Get your tickets. If you're CEO, I'll be giving you the tour. If it's founder, it'll be Tom. Executive, it'll be our executive team. And if you're a general platinum ticket holder, come into the best business conference of the year, MGM Grand Arena, August 31st through the 3rd. Logan Paul, Stephen Bartlett from Diary of a CEO, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, and Dan Martell will all be there. Get your tickets. Come join us. Networking event July 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. All you have to do is go to vault2026.com to get your ticket. And then send us the information that you bought your ticket. We look forward to spending time with you. God bless everybody. Take care. We'll do it again on Thursday. Bye-bye, bye-bye.